Is it the cutter or the cutting? Elon Musk. If you were to go to central casting and you were a liberal and you wanted somebody to really rail against, you're like, all right, what do I need? I need extra white guy. Make him from South Africa. Fantastic. He needs to be the richest man ever. Okay. Mostly wearing black, right? And make sure he has 12 kids, 100 kids, 1,000 kids, just reproducing because that's what because he saved the world that way. Okay. And he needs to be a free thinker. All right. We've got a guy for you. And that's who it is. When I watch them freak out, and we know who they are, it's pretty much anybody right now, and especially the progressive, uber progressive wackadoo side of the Republican Party, not the run-of-the-mill the Democrat Party, not the run-of-the-mill ones who are going about their business every day, just trying to get stuff done. The people that live for the camera, the people that live to be, the celebrity, those people. He's everything they need. And part of that is because they're worried about Trump. Trump's not going to be here forever. Who's going to be their foil next? Who's going to be the villain next? They tried it with DeSantis, and he was awful. He's not funny. He's not very engaging. He's a very nice guy. I always said, I think Ron DeSantis would have made a great president. The problem with Ron DeSantis, he could never get the job at that level. Just wasn't going to happen. Even if Trump didn't run, it wasn't going to happen because there's just something about him. And he wasn't the great foil that they wanted. Luckily, Trump came back. But now it is Elon, and Elon is everything they despise. He's wealthy. Oh, God, no. Yes, he is all about free speech. No. He loves capitalism. He sees a big future in everything. He's an engineer. He wants stuff done. He doesn't want to play the game of bureaucracy where you sit around all day and you talk about it and then you make minute changes like, hey, we could save $2 million a year if we went to LED light bulbs for the next what? And just he wants to fix stuff. But it's about him. They would be upset. I mean, if you brought in a run-of-the-mill, couple forensic folks, accountants and whatnot, and you brought them in and they were boring. And I even somebody said, well, what if they brought Warren Buffett in because he buys into all their stuff? It wouldn't be the same because part of politics is the theatrics in today's world. It's the overreaction. It's the find the villain, define the villain, make the villain what it is, and then give yourself the role. And that's what they're doing. Their issue is they focus on him. Most Americans like him. Most people like him. They do. Even people who don't follow politics that much think, I got nothing with him. He's funny. He's trying to do stuff. Right? You liked him 3 years ago when he was making those cars. You liked him then and he still believes in a lot of that stuff. He's not a Republican. He's not. He's always said the Democrats left me. He's not a Republican. He's not a GOP. He is a guy that is all about capitalism, more libertarian than anything else. He wants to get stuff done. I think he cares about this country. Well, he cares about himself because he's being investigated. Every big business in the world is being investigated for something. I don't know if you're aware of that. You don't think every big business in the world has 1 million different lawyers? They have floors and stacks of lawyers. How many cities are being sued right now? Hell, Matt's going to have a guy on today, right? A fireman who just won a big lawsuit with the city here. Everybody gets sued. That's part of it. Well, they're investigated. Of course they are. It's about him. They hate him. They hate everything he stands for. And the funny thing is, anybody who's ever met him, talked to him, money is a means to an end. It's not what he lives for. This is a guy who, for all the time he was out in Austin, he was renting his buddy's casita for a while. He was sleeping on couches or in the office. He's not one of these influencers who wants to hop on a plane every 5 minutes so they could take pictures. It is about him as much as it is the cuts. Yes, the cuts are important to some of them because it's their pet project. It's the way that they make sure that the people who help get them elected get some of their money. It's the wacky progressive ideas they want to spread everywhere. If we're honest, and most people won't because of the secrecy was a doctrine back in the late 30s, early 40s they put out there, and then it was strengthened after that. Like 48 is when they got the last one. The whole thing with that is, how do we take something and spread American love and utopia around the globe? And while we're doing that, maybe influence a bunch of stuff and have some coups. Like, we got a great idea. We're going to save kids in Africa from malaria. And while we're there, a couple people won't be doctors. They're going to help start a coup. I mean, that's so much of it wasn't a front. It's been out there forever. Everybody knows what these things were. And it didn't mean that we weren't doing good things. And these things aren't going away that way. But this is about the cutter as much as it's about the cuts. And it angers them to think that because they can't do anything to stop it. This is Dean Phillips. He ran against Biden a year ago. And the Democratic Party got mad at him because he's like, look, he's not capable. We're going to lose. And everybody went after him because he told the truth.
When I ran for president, that was one of my propositions, to engage one of the world's foremost consulting firms to literally look at the entire federal budget and make thoughtful recommendations to Congress about how we could actually become more efficient, more effective. Unfortunately, Democrats are only focused on one thing right now, Mr. Musk. The fact of the matter, he's quite popular. He has the largest platform in human history, which is, of course, Twitter/X. And I think we're missing the boat as Democrats. And all I'm saying is that sometimes it's better to join them and actually play a role in how the strategy works rather than so pathetically, frankly, try to combat something that clearly is a steamroller.
A steamroller. They can't, they're helpless. They're so helpless. They're a rudderless ship, and we're going to talk about that later, how bad they are right now when it comes to leadership. But yes, this is as much about him because you need that villain. He's not going anywhere. He is going to be their villain, and he is fine with that because he doesn't really, that stuff doesn't bug him. But because the cuts are going to come to a certain point. They're not going to go as far as people want. Like, let's get rid of the Department of Education. Trump knows that's never going to happen via a signature just by him. Congress has to get rid of that. That's an agency. That's what they're going to have to eliminate. So now this is where the Republicans are going to have to stand up and say, all right, are we for this? Are we really going to do this? Because right now they've kind of had it on easy street. They've passed a couple things that weren't really too consequential and everybody cheered. But in truth, outside of that, Trump's been doing this via his executive orders. So when you're doing that, they don't have to do anything yet. They're not on the hot seat. And I want to see what it's like when push comes to shove and they actually have to pass something. Are they going to back him top to top or are they not? Because Elon's cutting everything. Elon's doing this. Trump's doing that. What are you guys doing? Is Mike Johnson ready to roll? Are they going to say, hey, this is because it's an agency. You can't just wish it away. You can't. So now what? Well, guys, it's up to you. Ball's in your court. Go get it done. Will they get it done? That's a big question.
I think Democrats should join the club and then have more credibility to actually raise the alarm about constitutional issues. Right now, it's the boy who cried wolf.
Because he recognizes that. Dean. Democrat, the guy that told the truth about and the Democrats were ready to throw him out of the party. He's like, oh, well, no way. Somebody's like, you're a lib. I'm not a lib. I'm being honest. Look, of course it's about some of the money in pet projects, but it wouldn't be the same because what many of you don't realize is this is not the first run at a DOGE. They've had all kinds of government efficiency kind of programs. You know, Obama had one. Bush, they all have something, but they're minimalist. And a lot of times what they do is they give you an outline on how to do something. They don't actually do it themselves. They're not actually interested in the bottom line. They go and they put together a big report and they say, all right, if you want to save money, this is what you have to do. If you want to cut, this is what you have to do. And then everybody goes, oh, great, we're never going to get on that. Because they're going to do everything they can to fight this. And they're going to fight it tooth and nail. But having Elon makes it better for them in the fight. Because he is that, if it's somebody that everybody liked, right? Especially if the Democrats liked him and he went in there and said, hey, they're right. There's a bunch of stuff here that people don't like. It would be tough for them. It's like punching somebody you like. You don't want to do that. Maybe Bill does, but not me.
No lies detected.
No lies detected. So it's not the first time they've had something like this. The difference is it's actually being worked, where in many occasions it was minimalist at best, and most of the times it was reports. We're going to try this. You guys should do that. It's all around the edges. Well, now you have the opportunity to see what it looks like. And I don't know how much is going to be cut. Could they save $500 billion a year? I think it's possible. Are they going to save $2 or $3 trillion over a period of time? Yes. But to think you're going to cut out that much at the beginning, that isn't, because you need Congress. And that's where Congress is going to come in. Because they're going to have a chance now to really see, are you backing Trump? And a lot of them are worried. Because while they're like, yeah, do this. Inwardly, they're worried, are my constituents going to be mad if we do this? If we cut all these things? If we do these things? Because they benefit from some of this stuff. And as we all know, if you're benefiting from it, it's a tough thing to cut. Nobody likes doing that. Nobody does. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to talk a little bit about how weak the Democratic... I've never seen a party... First of all, I've never seen a party so out of touch with everything. Just every time you turn around, they are moving further away from reality and doubling down on the stuff that doesn't work. Talk a bit about that. And yeah, somebody said, who the hell's Doug? Because we're talking with Chris. Doug's Party. Doug's Party is what we need in America right now. It's a simple little thing that went viral. And if you haven't been invited to Doug's Party, you really need to get an invite from Doug, because it's going to be a big party. I'm telling you guys right now. Among other things we're going to get through today, plus we've got Brad Palumbo coming on. And we're going to have Tim Burchett. He's going to join the program later. We're going to talk about
JFK
files, some UFO stuff, a bunch of other things there as well. Find out what he thinks DOGE and the chaos surrounding it with the left. And man, it's a full show today. You guys sit back, relax, enjoy the time with us. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital. It's awesome. I want you to talk to my buddy, Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer at Bulwark today, about what he can do to help you. Right? He's always joking. He's got the government, he's got the Department of Retirement Efficiency. He wants to show you what's going on in your account and give you a second opinion. What they do over there at Bulwark is different than so many other places. Active management. You're going to be managed in a very small way comparatively to, it's a big way, but you're going to have people who don't have 5,000 clients to put you in a cookie cutter situation with your retirement. They're going to build it out for you, and it's going to be about you. Lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. That's what Bulwark's all about. I want you to call them today. I send my family to them. I go to Zach and everybody. They're amazing. Call 866-779-RISK today, 866-779-RISK. Or go to knowyourriskradio.com to sign up for your free risk review, a.k.a. your second opinion at Bulwark Capital. Knowyourriskradio.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk, not a guarantee. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 25137.
More of President Trump's cabinet picks are getting across the finish line. Car break-ins so bad in Nashville, police going to hold a community meeting tonight. And as deportation ramps up, so do protests on college campuses. Got that at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Is that the lunacy at UT?
Yeah.
Hook 'em horns. What the hell are you people doing? Let's make it a sanctuary college. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? You tried this already once before, and then Abbott came over and said, yeah, if you guys try this, we're going to cut all your funding.
Yeah.
You guys are, oh, my God.
Just a bunch of kids.
You know what? Immigration is the new Palestine.
Yes.
Right? Like that's, last year you're like, oh, what are you wearing this season? Palestine and apartheid. Oh, you look great in it. This year I'm going to be wearing immigration. Palestine is so yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so 2024.
It is so 2024. It's, yeah, I don't even remember. I don't think I've ever gone to a protest. Have you?
No. I never was really around,
hippies,
major metropolitan areas, where there would be protests.
Yeah, I've never. Belle, you look like a guy that would go to one with your hair.
No, oh God, no. I have no time for that kind of collectivism. The one thing I regret in my own personal life is that we didn't have these kind of student walkouts when I was in high school, because I had to go to a lot of days of class that could have been taken up with a protest standing outside drinking a Pepsi instead of having to do work.
Yeah, I've only ever been to one, like where I went to protest, and that was, I didn't go to protest. There was protester versus protester. It was an abortion clinic versus the pro-life people, and it was the early 90s, and it was good. There was some squabbling. There was people hitting each other with their little signs. It was great. Police were dragging people. We're like, shoot them.
That's active right there.
Yeah, that was
like
back
that
when you could do that stuff.
Bargatze bit where he goes, "This guy has 3 names. Can you just shoot him?"
Yeah, it was. That's the only time, and the only reason I went is because it was within walking distance of my house as a kid. I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. Otherwise, no. I've been caught in people walking on the freeway in L.A.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I never want to get caught in something
That is the worst. And I don't care how much I agree with you, right? You could be pro, anything that I agree with. Like, I could be 100% behind you, and the minute you make me late for something,
yes,
you make my life more miserable, I'm officially going to do everything I can to campaign against you.
What they need to start doing is when these people are on roads and stuff like that, especially if you're in a situation like on an interstate where you cannot turn around, start charging them with kidnapping, and that crap will end real quick.
Or, remember when they went after Chris Christie because he had that tit for tat over
the last donut?
No, he closed the bridge, right?
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
And then there was some people that like, this person died because they couldn't get across the bridge. And if you're doing that, I have zero problems that you charge those people.
Yep.
I mean, oh goodness, it's already tough enough getting around sometimes, but these people love it, and they're out there. I was sitting there laughing because when my show earlier today, I was talking about the fact you got all these kids out there, and they're like, we just think that it should be. What if you were born here and you're coming here? I was like, nobody's going to UT looking for anybody. It's not happening.
Right.
You're pushing over that invisible statue again.
Yeah, they're just manufacturing things.
Yeah, I think they don't want to do anything. That's their number one goal. Is like, how much can I not do? So frustrating it is. We've had a couple little ones here.
Yeah.
But they weren't like, and sometimes I find out after the fact. Like downtown, there was you go someplace like at Berkeley. Oh man, if you're in Berkeley, every day there's a protest at Berkeley for something.
I bet.
I hooked Dan. Dan's a huge Journey fan, and I hooked him up with an interview with their old manager, Herbie Herbert. And something he said to Dan in the interview just always stuck with me, that when everybody that lived in Berkeley considered it the communist states of Berkeley.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's what they say down in Austin, Texas, too.
It's funny about Austin because when I lived in San Antonio, and this was like 10, 11 years ago, it was, keep Austin weird.
Yeah,
and it was, and you go there and they would talk, we're just like Berkeley. And I'm like, guys, you're more liberal than everywhere else in Texas. You have no idea what Berkeley's like.
No.
It's a whole nother world of insanity.
Yeah, Texas liberal and California liberal are definitely two different things.
I mean, it's not even close. And my friend Inez, she went to Berkeley. She got a degree from there. And she went to school with a naked guy. The guy just didn't wear clothes. Nobody cared. Nowadays, I'm sure you'd be in trouble for it. But Berkeley, they just thought it was no big deal.
Yeah.
I thought, what the hell's wrong with you people? Vegans, that's what's wrong with you. You'll need some meat.
Get some protein in that system. Start thinking straight.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about Doug and his party coming up and why I think America needs it. People are like, who's Doug? You're going to find out who Doug is. It's a great story at a time when, everybody's always, we all hate each other. No, we don't. Plus, the mob's having some issues. We'll talk about that, too, because it's hilarious. Speaking of kids, we'll do that straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes, and right now in our nation's capital.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The confirmation is confirmed.
And RFK Jr. is Health and Human Services Secretary. Kash Patel now a final confirmation vote away from being FBI director. Linda McMahon tells her Secretary of Education confirmation hearing how the Trump administration plans to downsize the agency.
It is set up by the United States Congress, and we work with Congress. It clearly cannot be shut down without it.
And Brooke Rollins confirmed to serve as the Secretary of Agriculture with the support of all Republicans and 19 Democrats. Right now in East Tennessee, a jury in Sullivan County deliberating the fate of Megan Boswell. The young mother found guilty of first-degree murder and 18 other charges in the suffocation death of her 15-month-old baby Evelyn back in 2019. Boswell faces life in prison without parole. Here in Nashville, car break-ins are so bad, police are going to hold a community meeting in West Nashville tonight. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac shares information from a Metro Council member who says there have already been hundreds of break-ins in his district alone this year.
Councilmember Rollin Horton says since January, nearly 140 cars have been targeted in West Nashville alone. Year over year, car break-ins have been up 33%. Tonight's meeting is the second community meeting focused on these crimes. The first happened last month in East Nashville after more than 80 cars were broken into in just a few days.
Meeting starts at 6 o'clock tonight, the West Police Precinct on Charlotte Avenue. Meanwhile, in the Lone Star State, Jim Ryan says a group of students protesting deportation of illegal immigrants.
At the University of Texas.
The people united will never be defeated.
We don't think it's right to take people away from places of education and deport them.
Daniel Ramirez is with Students for Democratic Society, demanding that UT declare itself a sanctuary campus
To prevent ICE from going on campus.
The university says it's found no evidence that any student has been deported from the Austin campus since Immigration and Customs Enforcement raids began.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Doug's having a party, people. You guys ready to go to a party?
Yeah, dude.
Have you heard about Doug's party, Ken?
Have not, but I'm up for it.
Whoa. If you don't have an invitation already, like you and I do, you weren't invited and you're not supposed to know about it. Well, sorry, Ken.
The world's starting to know about it.
Apologize, man. I mean, no insult intended.
Cat's out of the bag, man.
Check this out. Doug, 87 years young, lives in Bucks County. That's in Pennsylvania. The other day, handwritten invitation to all of his neighbors. And a Ring doorbell catches him rolling on up to one of his young neighbors. I think they're in their early 20s, husband and wife.
Yeah. Hi. I'm Doug across the street over here, right? I live over in that house there.
Okay.
And there's an invite to a party on February 15th.
Rolls in. She goes, oh, how nice. Just sitting around. And then she opens the letter inside the house. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Sweet. And wow, it went viral.
Okay, so we live in the suburbs, and we have the cutest neighbors, like, all around. Everybody's just so sweet, so nice, so accommodating. Like, just truly, we couldn't have asked for a better neighborhood. And today, I'm just sitting on the couch, and I hear our doorbell ring, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, who could that even be? I open the door, and it is our, 85-year-old neighbor who is truly, such a sweetheart. He's walking over with his cane, and I still was, so unsure as to, what he was even asking or, what he needed. And he gives me this little invitation that literally looks like he used, some sort of, pen to then, make copies of these and give them out to all of our neighbors. And it says, a celebration of winter, February 15th, 4 p.m. until the cops arrive.
So she puts it out there, not thinking much of it, just talking. She's got 20 or 30,000 followers. A good size, a good amount. Most people don't have that. Within a few days, it's well over several million. Everybody's coming to Doug's party. People are having Doug's party all over the place. His daughter finally had to say, look, please don't come to the house, right? It's for the neighbors. And, he wrote it down and then copied it. And it says, I love this part. It says, until the cops come.
I don't know what she's thinking, but I've already booked my plane tickets, so.
That's right. The Wienermobile is supposed to be there.
Awesome.
And all he says is, hey, you know what? Just bring a smile.
Love, Doug.
I love. Who doesn't love Doug?
Only bring a smile, RSVP to his email, and he gave his phone number. Love, Doug.
How awesome is that?
That's cool, man.
He's got his I think he's got his military hat on. He's got a cane. He's 87. He's a widower. And now it's the police are like, we're not coming. You guys do whatever you want to do. Yeah. We don't even we want no part of this, right? You guys party, right? Have fun. And that one of the neighbors has been to one of Doug's little soirees and said Doug actually knows how to throw a party. But when you think about how impersonal we are, how many of you guys know your neighbors?
Yeah.
I live in an apartment building. I don't know a neighbor. I don't even see anybody half the time. They go from their car straight to their apartment.
I fortunately know quite a few of my neighbors.
Well, yeah, because they're.
But I've lived there a while.
Yeah, and you're an affable guy. You want to be out there and say hi to folks.
Yep. Walk my little wiener dog around.
Well, when I was in Arizona, we didn't know any of our neighbors. Most of them would pull. Well, partially because of the heat. Everybody pulls straight into the garage, but they would never come out of the house.
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore. We don't, where my mom lives, I love where she lives, a cul-de-sac. It wasn't like this when I was there, but now they'll have a party for 4th of July and stuff. It's a block party. It's a cul-de-sac party. But we don't do that anymore. We don't have organizations. We don't have fun. I mean, I think if you asked, I've talked about this 100 times. I walk here every day.
Mm-hmm.
I must say hi to 10 people. I'm lucky if I get one person to say hi to me or even look me in the eyes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You know who does? The tourist.
Yeah.
Usually because they're going to go, where can you help? Outside of that, no. I mean, people they've got their head down, they've got their earbuds in, and they're just looking straight. And they'll look too, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't engage. Don't engage. And I'm like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Scare the crap out of him.
Dude, I felt horrible the other night because I had my headphones in and I was walking I just pulled up in front of our home. I was walking in and I noticed that these young teenagers, these teenage boys kind of off to the left, and I thought I heard one of them say something to me, but I wasn't sure. So I just kept walking in. And finally, they got behind me as I'm going in, and I should have turned my phone off. I didn't, but I hear one of them say, "Nice beard, bro."
Oh.
And I just, I said, "How you fellas doing?" And they said, "Good, good." And I thought, that's cool, man. I mean, teenagers actually engaging with an adult.
That's great. We just don't have that. Like I said, we're closer than we've ever been because of social media, right? So we're all connected, but we're so far apart.
Yes.
Very rarely do you get the pancake breakfast and we're doing this and we're all involved in an organization and it's just so odd. And to think, here's a guy, he's 87, just walking around his neighborhood, handing out flyers that he did for himself.
Yeah.
Let's have a party. Come over to my winter party. And now he's got it. There's a Twitter. He has no idea. His daughter said he has no idea what TikTok is. He doesn't know he's TikTok famous. And he knows none of this stuff.
Right.
You know what I think he does know? How to pour bourbon neat.
How what?
How to pour bourbon neat.
Yeah, he does. He looks like one of those guys. So everybody's talking about your wiener dog.
Yeah, little Fritz. Little fat Fritz.
Little fat Fritz rolling around. I bet you Fat Fritz is famous.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, see, that's cool. But if you were walking by yourself, do you think you get the same?
Well, I would, because I make it a point, like you, I make it a point to make eye contact with people and talk to them.
Yeah. We need more of that. We do.
And I mean, I've met some pretty cool people in my neighborhood too.
I'll talk to anybody. Let's have a conversation. I don't know where, hi, how are you? You doing okay? Like if I'm lucky, the people, hi, that's it. People are, especially a younger generation. Older people, by older, I mean, over 40 or 45, they'll tend to say hi once in a while, more often than the young.
Yeah.
So it's just, we need more of that. I thought this story, I was like, my wife said the other day, she goes, "You going to go to Doug's party?" I'm like, "Who the hell's Doug?" Right? She goes, "You're not seeing it?" I said, "Well, I saw it trending."
You didn't actually get invited.
No, I saw it trending, and I'm like, I didn't know who Doug was. I thought it was like, is this a new album? Did somebody drop an album that I didn't know about?
It's the new band called Doug.
There's probably a band out there called Doug.
There probably is.
Look at this. Walk his little wiener dog around the neighborhood, says one person. I'm glad he added dog to the end of that.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Another person says, "My husband knows everyone in our neighborhood, and I wish I was joking. He can't tell you their names."
Now, that does happen.
Yeah.
I am horrible with names.
Oh, I am too.
And you know what? I just bite the bullet, man. I mean, we'll be in a conversation and I'll just say, "You know what? I'm sorry. I cannot remember your name. My name's Ken. What is yours?"
Yeah.
Tell me again.
I'm exceptionally terrible at the same thing. And I tend to tell people, especially at parties and stuff, when I come back and ask you your name again, please don't be offended because I can't remember them for crap.
Chris and I were talking earlier. I said,
"What's your name?"
There's a socialism book that was dropped off.
Yeah.
And I said, well, one of the salespeople, and he goes, "Which one?" I said, "Oh, I forgot their name." And then I said, "It's this guy." And he goes, "I don't know." I said, "Dude, how long you been here?" He goes, "I should probably be better at this." I said, "I'm horrible at names too."
I have worked here. I'll be 10 years August 5th that I've worked here, and there are still people downstairs. I don't know what
You
their
don't know
names are.
people that work next door.
Well, no, I know them. I just try not to associate with them.
When we went to the Christmas party, so I've been here a couple of weeks, went to the Christmas party. I'm like, "All right, Bell, who are some of these people?" Like, "Who's that person?" He goes, "I don't know."
No clue.
I go, "Who's that person?" He goes, "Never seen him before in my life." I go, "He works here in the station next to us, like
Right.
4 feet. I've never seen him before."
Right next to us.
Yeah. You must go through another door.
Well, there's plenty of ways in and out of the building now. Come on.
Okay. You know what somebody said about eye contact? We've lost that art. That's what I tell my son. You shake somebody's hand, you look them in the eye.
Yep.
It's little, like, that's the lost art. That's the one thing AI, everybody's worried about AI taking stuff away. That human interaction and that human touch and just the human side of us, that's never going anywhere. But it's gone somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lady that charges $300 an hour to companies to teach their Gen Z and millennials how to use proper phone etiquette and how to use the phone without being terrified. They're afraid to call the pizza guy.
Yes.
That's what's fascinating.
Any interaction.
Yes.
It caused extreme anxiety.
And isn't it weird?
It is.
It's like I've never. I mean, you're like, because when I was a kid, I couldn't shut up. And, well, you know, I live in Europe. I lived over there. I'm like, I don't speak Flemish, you know, or German or French, depending on where it was in Belgium. I don't know. I'm gonna meander my way through this.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays, you drop them off, they're going to die. They may die at the mall. What happened? Well, he just couldn't figure out where to go, so he just died at the mall.
One of the most striking things I ever saw, it was about, and this has been, I want to say 15 years ago. My daughter she was actually, about 15 years ago. She was in junior high. Well, no, never mind. It was back in the 20 teens.
Okay.
At her school. And I'm going there to sign her out. There's another kid standing there. He's signing something, and the secretary asks him, "Can you tell me what time that clock says?" And it's hand clock.
Oh, it's a hand
clock. He could not
clock.
do it.
No,
he said, "I don't know."
That is so.
And this was a teenager.
Wow. That's why.
And this has been years. This has been over a decade ago.
Still,
I
though,
do know that.
You're a teenager. You should know how to tell time.
Right.
Like, there's those fancy watches out there. They don't have any hands. You're just kind of guesstimating. And you should know how to tell time.
Right.
It shouldn't be a surprise to you. You know, I was reading today, the mob in Sicily and stuff was growing. And they caught, like, via wiretap and stuff, the mob boss is talking about how awful the Gen Z and millennial mobsters are. They're the worst. They don't know how to communicate, and when they get caught, they flip. They don't care about any of the stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, we're having trouble recruiting. They can't make eye contact.
So the mob is going to go away.
Yes.
It's going to implode.
It's going to die.
Yeah.
Because of not being able to recruit. And you're just, I'm fascinated. That's why I always tell everybody, sports, amazing for kids. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, just because you're around, you're doing something amazing for kids.
Interaction.
Working at a restaurant and being a server or something like that, or when you're younger or something, amazing. You got to get out there. And I'm fascinated by my son. Like a few years ago, we were staying in San Diego, and he wanted to use the regular phone that was in the room. We were going to get room service, and he was so excited.
Yeah.
And I never forget, okay, you've not used it, but because of sports, he doesn't, he's got this big personality. But my stepdaughter, who's 14, very shy and reserved. And if you want to, she'll walk anywhere, she'll do anything, but, she loves TikTok, but she'd never be in front of the camera. She's afraid to. She doesn't want to be made fun of, and a lot of her friends feel that way. And I'm just fascinated by that because I got zero problem with that kind of stuff. But it's a weird world. Let's all go to Doug's party though. Coming up, a lot of stuff still to get to. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about Robert Kennedy Jr. I know he's been confirmed, but I just feel like he's going to just whine at us the whole time to eat better. Right? It's the whole time.
He does have kids, so he's used to having
just going to look over at you and just go, you shouldn't eat that. And you're like, you know what? Be quiet, okay? All right, old man? Be quiet. Huh? Talk about that, bunch of other stuff. If you missed any show, grab the podcast. Otherwise, we say, Bill. Yo-yo dieting is horrible for you. You want to lose that weight? You want to get fitter? You don't want to take shots, though. You don't want to do a prescription. Lean. That's what's going to help you from my buddies over at Brick House. Now, let me tell you about lean. So the yo-yo dieting thing, you know what it is, right? You drop 25, 30 pounds, and you put 35, 40 pounds on. You drop 40 pounds, you put 50 on. It gets frustrating. It's not good for you. Bad for you. Big time issue when it comes to your heart, diabetes, all of that stuff. Let's talk about Brick House and what it's going to do for you. First and foremost, zero prescriptions, no shot. Take a couple pills a day, easy to take, and it's going to help you in so many ways. First and foremost, maintain healthy blood sugar. Then, control appetite and cravings, which is very important for a lot of us, because a lot of us eat out of boredom and stuff. This is going to help. And then the big one, burn fat by converting it into energy. You want to lose? Let's do it together. Check out Lean. Get 20% off right now. Go to takelean.com. That's takelean, Lean.com. And use code Benson20 at takelean.com. Code Benson20 gets you 20% off right there. Takelean.com, code Benson20.
A new legal challenge to stop DOGE. I'll tell you about it at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The vote to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was nearly along party lines. For the third time now, Kentucky Republican Mitch McConnell joined with Democrats to oppose one of President Trump's second-term appointments. McConnell, who turns 83 next week, survived polio in his youth and has expressed grave concerns about RFK Jr.'s views on vaccines. As the full Senate was voting on Kennedy's nomination, the Judiciary Committee voted along party lines to favorably report on Kash Patel's bid to be FBI director.
Ooh. So we got him. You know he's going to be out there today, taking his shirt off in front of everybody, talking about how you need to eat more vegetables.
His slogan's going to be, cash me outside.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she makes a lot of money. You know what? Look, if I'm 70 and I look as good as Robert Kennedy Jr., that's great. But stop your nagging, all right?
If I want to eat the McDonald's, I'm eating the McDonald's.
That's my choice. My body, my choice.
And I'm going to do it without a shirt on.
That's right. God, he is just...
That cracks me up, man.
Let me tell you guys something right now. You shouldn't have any kind of red dye 40.
Take off that
I
shirt.
feel guilty making fun of him, but he sounds like Betty Davis when he was about to die.
He does. I think all of his siblings have something similar. It is Parkinson's disease just for the vocal cords. So it's not killing the vocal cords. It's not doing it. I don't think it causes any pain. It's just for the vocal cords. And, there you go. But he is the new guy, if you will.
Health and Human Services.
Yep, the new Health and Human Services. You know who else is going to be interesting? Cash is going to be interesting when they're delaying it as long as they can. You do. Because like we talked about earlier, the Democrats have nothing. They have no power to stop anything. And it's hurting them. I mean, it is some of them. You can see the pain in their eyes. Oh, yeah, because they can't stop what's coming. But so much of their theatrics... Even McMahon said today, Linda McMahon, look, you're not going to get rid of the Department of Education by the swipe of a pen. It's going to have to be an act of Congress, all of these things.
Did the Senate change the rules to where you have to filibuster in person?
I thought they did.
Yeah, that's why they're not getting anywhere with any of this, because they're too lazy to stand up there and filibuster.
Well, they're too busy outside in front of the EPA being stopped by Paul Blart from going in there. We can't get by him. He's like, don't go in. Oh, violence.
Oh, and Survivor music is blaring from his scooter.
Yeah. He's going to do a turn. He's going to bend over back. You ever tried to turn on one of those things?
Man, I'm not getting on one of those things.
I remember when they first came out, because they were going to be the biggest thing in the world, right? Like this guy, all this big Silicon Valley money behind him, and it was like super quiet. It was going to be huge. And then it leaked what these things were. And then within like a month, like every city had banned them from being on sidewalks or anywhere. But if you've ever been on, you could take a tour, try turning them. It is like being on a seesaw where you got to balance and turn. Oh, they're spectacular. You don't look cool, by the way. Just like cops who have to ride bikes in shorts. That is not a cool look. That is not. You're under arrest. I'm sorry, sir. I can't take you serious. Not in spandex.
Those shorts are pretty short, man.
Yeah. You're under arrest. What are you going to do? Put me on the back of your bike? I'm not sitting on the handlebars so you can take me to jail. Coming up,
I never
hour
did
two.
that as a kid.
Brad's coming on, right? We got Brad Palumbo coming up here in a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that should piss some of you guys off on the old text line because he's not nuts. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Well, there's a new legal effort to stop DOGE, a federal lawsuit challenging the structure and leadership of the Department of Government Efficiency. Stephen Portnoy explains.
The lawsuit's been filed in federal court in Maryland by more than 24 staffers and contractors at USAID who claim their lives have been upended by Elon Musk and his DOGE team. The suit seeks the reversal of Musk's and DOGE's actions and a formal determination by the courts that they're operating in violation of the Constitution. The filing alleges a violation of the Appointments Clause, noting that no one at DOGE is serving in a role created by Congress, nor have any of them been confirmed by the Senate.
Russian leaders saying they're ready to organize a meeting between Vladimir Putin and President Trump. Trump said he's reached out to both Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky about ending the war in Ukraine. Trump saying he could meet with Putin in Saudi Arabia in the near future before meeting with Zelensky. He'll be engaging with President Putin of Russia directly. He said that will happen by phone, but he also says that they will be meeting in person, perhaps that the Russian president would come here to the United States or he would go to Russia. But he said more likely that they would have their first sit-down meeting in Saudi Arabia in the near future. And in our nation's capital.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The confirmation is confirmed.
And RFK Jr. is Health and Human Services Secretary. Kash Patel now just a final confirmation vote away from being FBI Director. Linda McMahon telling her Secretary of Education confirmation hearing how the Trump administration plans to go about downsizing the agency.
It is set up by the United States Congress, and we work with Congress. It clearly cannot be shut down without it.
And Brooke Rollins confirmed to serve as the Secretary of Agriculture with the support of all Republicans and 19 Democrats. And another Democrat has announced they're not running for re-election in the U.S. Senate. This makes 2 so far this year. Minnesota's Tina Smith announcing today she's not running for re-election. This comes less than a month after Michigan's Gary Peters said he would not seek re-election. And right now in East Tennessee, a jury in Sullivan County deliberating the sentence for Megan Boswell, the young mother found guilty of first-degree murder and 18 other charges in the suffocation death of her 15-month-old baby Evelyn in 2019. Boswell faces life in prison without parole. And President Trump has been harshly critical of so-called sanctuary cities that shelter undocumented immigrants against deportation. Well, now, Jim Ryan says activists at the University of Texas are demanding sanctuary campus status.
There's been no evidence of ICE raids on the UT campus in Austin, but sophomore Genesis Britz says students brought to the country by undocumented parents, so-called dreamers, are living in fear of ICE agents.
They're going to scare and instill fear in not only our DACA recipient students, but the people that work at this university.
She wants UT declared a sanctuary campus. When a similar call went up during Donald Trump's first term, Governor Greg Abbott threatened to cut state funding to the university.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Bzzz, you might need Busy Bee. You want to join the famous Beehive Club? Do it now. And I'll tell you why you're going to need them. First of all, HVAC, right? Weather's going to start turning soon. It's going to go from cold to warm to hot. You're going to want to make sure that everything is ready to roll. Get those ducts cleaned. They can help you with that. Now, when it comes to your plumbing, obviously, there's all kinds of issues out there. Maybe a pipe burst here and there. Maybe you got a leak you didn't know about, but you see the crack and you're worried. Oh, my goodness. Let them come out and take a look. It is free. They'll come out. They'll look around. And I'm telling you guys, join the Beehive Club. And the reason is simple. When stuff gets crazy, everybody is calling. You want to be put at the top. That's what you get with the Beehive Club. Call them today. That is Busy Bee Plumbing, 775-7833. 775-7833. Check out everything they do online at busybeehvac.com. busybeehvac.com. We do our own thing here. I know we're different. We like being different. We're just really regular folk. And I like talking to fun people. I like talking to people who are interesting, who've got an open mind. This guy's it. Been watching a lot of his videos lately. Brad Palumbo, he's got a YouTube show called Brad versus Everyone, and it is hilarious because you take on everyone, including I watched last week when you were on CNN, and did you just feel like, Brad, like you just wanted to go, why are you all lying?
You know, it was quite the experience going into the lion's den like that. I honestly should have been prepared for it, having seen clips of how kind of hostile they can be and how they can jump on down your throat and how you kind of have to fight to get a word in. But it was about what I expected on that front. But I enjoy it, honestly. I'm not one to shy away from a debate or need a safe space. So I'm happy to go into the lion's den anytime.
You know, I'm very independent-minded. You know, I call myself a little bit of a conservatarian, you know, and in a world where everybody seems they want to pick a tribe, I'm very open-minded. I want to talk to a lot of people, and that's what you do, and which is what I enjoy. People who have an open mind, who are willing to look at everybody. Even if I don't agree with you, I do want to hear what you have to say, and in today's world, that's refreshing.
Yeah, certainly. And I think it's boring to agree with somebody all the time. And I think if you find yourself, particularly with a politician, agreeing with them 100% of the time, you're probably not thinking deeply about every single issue, because whether it's left or right, the types that are drawn to politics, these just in general, but especially these days, tend to be very power-hungry and arrogant people who kind of blow with the wind in terms of where their positions go. None of them are 100% correct about anything, in my view. And I think if you are short-circuiting your thinking and just kind of adopting whatever position you perceive your tribe to be on, you're probably doing yourself short thrift, because you probably have a more nuanced take on things if you realize it. And frankly, it's just boring to agree all the time. It's more fun to have a different view, to push back on things, to be devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's good because I've always said, man, Brad, you know this, you got to challenge your beliefs every once in a while, too, to go, are my beliefs really, like, are they based in reality? It's the data and facts that they hold up? And I think so many people nowadays, because everything's an identification. I identify as this, and this is who I am. So if I'm right or left, that is who I am, and I don't want anything to pierce the armor of my beliefs.
Yeah, and then you end up saying ridiculous things and not realizing that you're doing that. I mean, the CNN hit was a good example. One of the people on there described Trump offering people buyouts if they wanted to resign from the federal government, including 8 months paid severance, as him terrorizing federal employees. Now, that's the kind of thing that in any normal room would be laughable, would be risible, right? Like, you're not terrorizing people by offering them the voluntary chance to resign and get 8 months paid vacation. Most people get laid off all the time in corporate America and are lucky to get a fraction of that. Everyday people work and don't get any severance at all. And it's only voluntary, right? But in an echo chamber where everyone is of a certain perspective, you can find yourself saying silly things and not even realizing how silly they are.
Talking to Brad Palumbo, Brad versus Everyone, YouTube, go check it out. He'll open your mind, he'll make you laugh too, because you also have crazy people on there when you're talking about him. Like some of the stuff, was it Whoopi and them the other day with all the trans people, and just, oh my God, it was just insane.
Yeah, there's kind of a never-ending supply of delulu, as I would put it. Just coming from the internet, coming from mainstream media, coming from the LGBT community, a lot of these people haven't learned the lessons of recent years and really are kind of unrepentant and strident in their fringe views, which is entertaining, but certainly not good for our country in any long-term sense. So I try with all this stuff to laugh about it, because if not, you find yourself getting really bummed out.
You know, you talk about like the delulu and all that kind of stuff. I've said this for the last couple of weeks. Every time I turn around, I look at the Democratic Party and I think, you guys are getting weaker. You're a rudderless ship. You're going with the wind, taking you to a place you don't want to go, and then you double down. And it's like they've not learned anything about what took place in November.
No, they haven't. And the funny thing is, like, it shouldn't be that hard to beat Donald Trump. It shouldn't be that hard to have a palatable alternative, because whether you love him or hate him, he's chaotic and he does divide opinion. So there's a lane that if they could just be sane and normal, I think a fair number of people might be drawn back towards them. It's kind of an intrinsic thing in politics that people move towards the side that's not in power. So like when a president gets elected, the other side often wins the next midterms. The Democrats are just doubling down on the crazy. I mean, one of their top priorities yesterday, a bunch of them just unveiled a slavery reparations bill. That's a crazy idea that would cost like $14 trillion. You'd have to tax tens and thousands of dollars from people, and it would just divide America up by race in a very divisive way. It polls terribly. They're like, yeah, we'll lead with that. That's how we'll lead with our Trump resistance. It just shows to me, I mean, you saw this at the DNC nominations for the vice chair and chair recently. They had the land acknowledgement. They had the hubbub over what to do with a non-binary candidate and their gender balancing rules. And then there's the constant hysteria. These people are talking as if Trump is going to bring about the Handmaid's Tale or segregation or whatever, and they discredit themselves as legitimate opposition. It really shouldn't be that hard to offer an alternative.
No, well, that's it. I've often wondered, like when you were on with CNN, because I've done a couple of those things, and I just they ask some of the most insane questions, and I almost feel like they're getting on the phone, because I've done a couple of hits with like Nancy Grace and stuff like that, and they're like trying to pump you up. And I'm like, are you being serious right now? Do you want me to say something ridiculous? Because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. That's kind of just the cable news business. They are looking for you to say something outrageous. They're also looking for somebody that's like very reliably going to give them like a team red or a team blue take. So sometimes it can be unpredictable if they book someone like me, and it's a little harder to get booked. Because you know what, depending on what the story of the day is, I might agree with Trump or I might disagree with him, because I actually have opinions and principles and values, and I apply them to whatever's going on. I don't decide based on the person saying it. So there were even one or two times when Biden was president, even though I'm on the right politically, where I supported things that he did, specific things. And I disagreed with most of it, but that's the thing they're actually not looking for, is critical thinking. They're looking typically in that kind of scenario for someone, preferably somebody not that bright, that they can just demonize and beat up and kind of gang up on and own, to do fan service to their own side. Now, I will say that show with Abby Phillip is a little bit of a different example. She actually has genuine diversity on there, and I'm sure she gets pushback from network executives about it. But most of the time, they're looking for a caricature to shadow box with, more than they're looking for a substantive conversation with somebody with different but nuanced views.
Talking to Brad Palumbo, he's got a YouTube show that's awesome. Check it out. It's called Brad versus Everyone. You do it daily, right?
Yeah, Monday through Friday with bonus episodes on Sundays.
What's the time frame for you put something like that together? With you, if you have guests, or are you working on from the moment you get up through the midday before you release it?
Yeah, I'm a one-man show, so I'm preparing and filming and editing basically every day, and then trying to get it out by the early evening. It's also available on audio feeds, so Apple, Spotify, all that. Brad versus Everyone. I'm a one-man show for now, but it's doing really well, growing really fast, and I think a lot of people appreciate entertaining content that will also inform you, because it can be tiresome to listen to just serious stuff all the time.
Oh,
and
I know.
Again, with all the insanity, we do have to laugh at it, because if we don't, we will end up crying.
Yeah, I that's the one thing we do here. We just talked about Doug's party, right? The old guy in Bucks County is throwing a party. He's 87, and it went viral. Because you need to have that's what life is, right? Like I have a 6-year-old. She was excited yesterday because she got a brand new doll, Brad. It was the most amazing thing ever. It was incredible. She played with it all night. She didn't care about DOGE.
No.
What do you think of the DOGE? What do you think? What do you think of the DOGE? I said earlier, and I think Elon is as much a problem for them as far as they're building up the class warfare. He's everything that central casting would give them, the progressives, to fight against. And that's been a lot of their focus, as much as it is about getting rid of some of the stuff that they love.
Yeah, I think it gives them a good pantomime villain to kind of put against. And I do think it's funny that the liberal media like MSNBC are all saying President Musk. They're just trying to get under Trump's skin. I actually predict that there may be a feud or a rift between the two of them sometime, because two people with that much ego, not in a bad way, but ego in the sense of like being such a huge character and filling up a room, two men like that often, I think, struggle to share the spotlight. I think I support a lot of the goals of DOGE. Obviously, we've got a massive federal government with insane levels of bloat and waste. I worry to some extent about the chaotic way in which some of it is being done. And I guess that worries me, because some of it is being done a little bit haphazardly in a way that could kind of damage or taint the cause of fiscal conservatism. And then, honestly, it is great to crack down on all the DEI spending. I mean, we're funding like transgender musicals in random African countries. Some of the stuff they've uncovered is insane. But in terms of the federal budget, entitlements are driving us off a cliff.
Yeah.
And this stuff is, I don't want to say it's like not a significant amount of money. We're talking about billions of dollars. It's a lot of money, but it's not enough to save or change the trajectory of our federal finances around the edges. You need real systemic reform. And I don't think DOGE is going to get us that, because it would require cutting into things that Trump and basically everyone is unwilling to touch, like Medicare, like Social Security, like Medicaid, like the military budget, perhaps, although even that, you can't balance the budget just from that. So I think it's a good thing for sure in some ways, but I worry a little bit about the chaos, and I'm not sure it can solve the bigger issue problems.
No, that's one of the things I've talked about is look, this is all great. You are cutting around the edges, and you can save some stuff, I think, and make it more efficient, maybe knock off 10%, 12, 15%. That'd be great. But unless we're going to address the reality, that elephant in the room, which is Medicare, Social Security, and even to a certain extent, the military, which I think is the best shot they have getting into the Pentagon with Pete Hegseth and getting some of these contracts that we signed to produce stuff that we no longer need or use, but you got to fill that contract.
Yeah, I mean, the military one is tough because there is that big constituency that wants that budget to get bigger and bigger and funnels it to their friends. I used to live in the D.C. area, and you'd walk by beautiful, gorgeous Raytheon and Boeing buildings that you knew were just paid with your tax dollars. And obviously, we need a strong military. I'm not convinced we need to spend quite as much as we do, like more than the next 10 countries combined or whatever. But it is a bit of a misnomer when Democrats or liberals focus on just cut the military budget. The math there doesn't math. You could not balance the budget just from military cuts alone. And obviously, it's still going to be a very significant expenditure in such a big and dangerous world. But maybe somebody like Pete Hegseth, an outsider, will be willing to shake things up a little bit. He's already cut out the identity months, which I know upset people's feelings, but I think by and large, I have no issue with. I think the military, we're still obviously going to honor and acknowledge Black History Month as society. Even Trump acknowledged it. But the military is not the place for identity politics. It's the place for raw efficiency and brutality to keep America safe. And I'm fully supportive of that, even though some people seem to think it's the end of the world if they don't get to put pronouns in their email signatures from their Pentagon.gov.
Which is so bizarre.
Anymore.
Like, isn't it the weirdest? Like, the military is meant for this, Brad. You get broken down, they build you back up, now go crush and kill things. That's it. Like,
yeah,
that's what you're there
I've
for.
never served, so I can't speak to this, but unity is very important, right, from what I hear. And dividing people up by their identities like this, I think we've realized as a society, is not unifying. It is divisive.
Yeah, it's a weird world, man. I love having you on. I appreciate it. Love watching your show. Tell everybody where they can reach out to you if they want to check out your Twitter and everything.
Yeah, check out the Brad versus Everyone podcast, wherever you get podcasts, or on YouTube, or just search Brad Palumbo on any social platform, Instagram, Twitter, all that. And yeah, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks. Brad Palumbo there. Enjoy talking to him. He's interesting. I like the fact that we talked to all kinds of people. Yesterday we had somebody who was progressive on the left, right? And she was on here. We're having a good time, and it's having an open mind to talk to people is awesome. And so many people, I think, and I hear from a lot of you guys, because I tell you guys this, I'm not going to give you affirmation. I want you to think. Right?
And we actually had a lot of common ground to go over with Afton too, because, we want our roads taken care of. We don't want to pay taxes and have it go down a big black hole.
No.
And also the bill about kids being able to carry life-saving or medically necessary medication,
like their inhaler.
Yeah. A kid with asthma, you have to go to the nurse to get your inhaler. Okay, I'll do that while I'm having an asthma attack. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we had common ground with that.
There's plenty of common ground. And that's why, when I did the Doug story, Doug is probably MAGA, right? Like, looking at him, if I was to hazard a guess, where he's got a military hat on and stuff, and he when they went over to his house, he looks like he served. He's probably conservative. The woman that he went and visited, probably a little bit more liberal. But you know what? It wasn't about politics. It was about, hey, we're all coming together to have fun, because there's so much more than just Politics, politics, politics.
Party at my house. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going over to Bell's house right now. Watch out, though, because he's got cats. Coming up, more stuff. It is the Jeff Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Birch gold. Gold. Do you realize how long it's been around? How about forever? Right? Before Bitcoin, for all this other stuff, there was gold. If you think to yourself, I need to diversify, gold is it. It is that safety net. It has always been there. It's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. And this is a great time to get involved where you can protect yourself in a time of uncertainty globally, a time of uncertainty when it comes to our markets, and who knows what's going to happen with tariffs and inflation. Gold will help you with that. Birch is going to help you. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. That's Benson to 989898. Now, when you do, they're going to send you out an investment kit and then the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era, which is done by Don Jr. And they're going to, you just do your thing. They'll talk to you. There's no high pressure. Find out how gold can protect you, whether it is your portfolio or any of the other things out there that you're worried about may go sideways, and gold can be there as that safety net. Text the word Benson now to 989898 for Birch Gold.
New actions on trade by President Trump. We've got it for you here at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's good talking to Brad. And check him out, Brad versus Everyone. You check out mine as well. We're doing it on a daily basis as much as we can because I got like 9 shows. What is your, you got a Cobra? I was unaware of the Cobra.
Like
Talk
3?
to me.
You lost 3 shows?
I have 3, yeah.
No, I thought you had 12.
So
you're down from 15?
Yeah, down from 15.
But yes, I do.
There's only so much I could do.
To answer your original question, yes, I have an emotional support Cobra.
Goodness.
Awesome. Watch out for those. Those are not good.
No, she's a sweetheart.
That's what they say.
They passed this stupid law where you can't take service animals into restaurants anymore.
Well, cobras would be.
And so I used to take her in her cage and set her down like at the O'Charlie's. I just sit her on the table. Now I have to hide her in my pants when I go in, and
That's
it's
what she
just
said.
ridiculous.
Hey, Belle, is that a cobra in your pants, or are you just excited to see me?
It's a cobra.
A lot of you reaching out. Again, Brad, check him out. And we're just like having fun. You know, I do serious stuff. I like doing serious stuff, but I like doing serious stuff about life. You know, like I said yesterday, my daughter, she's 6. Her name's Charlie. Hilarious. She is so excited she got this doll. And I think we miss out on so much because we're all like, ooh, hyper-focused on stuff. She doesn't care about a lot of that stuff, and I don't want her to care about it. Like, we talk about stuff, she'll hear some things, but that's the stuff that's what life is. And for a lot of people nowadays, we only identify as a side or another. It fascinates me because I couldn't do that. Even some of you have a question. You have liberal friends? Of course I have liberal friends. Progressive friends? I have a lot of friends who don't care about anything when it comes to politics. They don't care. No idea. Trump's running again? Oh, that's pretty interesting. Oh, he already ran. That's how clueless, because they're living their life doing other things. Probably having fun.
Those people live a long time.
Yeah,
too.
and you know what they are? Happy. You ever met them? They're all like, yeah, I didn't even know. I had no idea that was going on. That's fantastic. Like, what do you do during the day? I don't even have a phone. Have you seen that about Christopher Walken?
He doesn't have a phone.
He doesn't have a phone. Do you also know they have to send him special DVDs to watch the shows that he's in? Because he doesn't have...
He doesn't have email either?
Yeah, he doesn't have email.
Have you heard the stories about how if you want to hire Bill Murray, there's a special number you have to call and leave him a message? He has no agent. He has no manager. You just leave him a message and say, hey, we want to send you a script. And if he calls back, then he's interested. And if he doesn't, you're out of luck.
Isn't that weird? But I love that. I mean, that's cool. There's some people that are like that. You know, they're living, and they're living a long life, and they're happy. That's fantastic. It's happy. Like my little brother, we always talk, because if you guys are new to the show and you're just listening, God bless you. Thanks so much for sticking around with me. He's in a wheelchair. He's got brain damage and cerebral palsy and a lot of other stuff, and he's never walked or talked, but he's always smiling. He's always laughing. And my mom always talks about, like, he's the happiest of the bunch.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He is. He's the happiest of the bunch. And he's the easiest to deal with, too. Because once because as you guys know, kids can be crazy. I mean, we just sometimes miss the ball. That's why I tell everybody, that's why we do so many different things for our show. That's what I love. Like talking about the mob. I had several people, the whole thing about the mob not being able to find replacements because they're Gen Z. They have the same problem. They want like bereavement, and I'm gonna have to take a day off because of a mental health day. You're in the mob.
Well, and the capos can't trust them.
No, they can't. They said that's the one thing they said. They flip so fast. They're just like, and they're saying, and somebody said The Sopranos was worried about his nephew or his son not being able to handle the business or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because it's a different time. And the reality of you're in a gang and it doesn't exist, as we all know, the mob doesn't exist. But as they work their way down, if they don't have kids that grow up in the life, not many kids want to live that life. They don't want to live anything outside of TikTok. And they don't shut up. Hey, look at me. I'm in the mob. Woo, I'm doing the mob dance. Oh, my Lord. Ken's got news for you coming up, kids. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun. What you got coming up?
Got this new action on trade that President Trump just signed.
They call that reciprocal.
Reciprocal trade.
Use that in the sentence, kids. We got Ken coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some politics, including the fact that they're trying to make him President Elon. They're trying to do all those things, and it's not working. And I'm going to tell you why it's not working, why the left is just missing time after time. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital.
President Trump today signed an order calling for his administration to determine a reciprocal tariff for each foreign trading partner of the U.S. The administration intends to hit other countries with tariffs that match the duties they impose on American products. Asked for a timeline for when these tariffs might be implemented, a senior administration official suggested it would happen in a matter of weeks or months and on a rolling basis, starting first with countries that have the highest trade deficits with the U.S.
That's Karen Travers at the White House. Meanwhile, a new legal effort to stop DOGE. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Maryland by more than 24 staffers and contractors at USAID who say their lives have been upended by Elon Musk and his DOGE team in violation of the Constitution. Here in Nashville, car break-ins so bad, police are going to hold a community meeting in West Nashville tonight. This will be the second community meeting. The first one was in East Nashville. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac shares information from a Metro Council member who says there have already been hundreds of break-ins in his district this year alone.
Neighbors told officers they are tired of replacing shattered windows. One man said that his driver's side window was shattered and his car registration and proof of insurance were stolen.
Criminals looking to steal your identity, it can give them a lot of information and ammunition that they need to actually take advantage of you.
Police say they do extra patrols in these areas where these crimes are happening. And of course, in the meantime, they say make sure you take all of your valuables out of your cars and keep your doors locked. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock and it will be held at the West Nashville Police Precinct.
Franklin police offering a $1,000 reward for information about a shooting Tuesday night left a man dead. Police were called to an area of Valor Court for shots fired. Then they found 32-year-old Latarius Johnson dead. He's described by friends as an aspiring musician. This is Franklin's first homicide this year. There was just one homicide in Franklin in all of last year. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's a good song. A little Pantera-ish.
Yeah.
Do we know anything more about that? If you guys didn't see today, some dude in Germany, some asylum seeker from Afghanistan hit a bunch of people in Germany in his Mini. Luckily, it wasn't a bigger car. The
Fortunately, yes.
And, you know, I'm going to go out on the limb and say it wasn't because he didn't get his bratwurst done right. But 18 people, and some of them, you know, it's weird because how many have we had, like the Sweden thing and now this? Now, the Sweden thing ended up being some nut job, but
right.
It's so quiet compared to, you know, like when Manchester with the whole thing with not Selena Gomez, who was it? Ariana Grande shooting it. It was so big. Yeah. Now it's quiet for any of that
and then
stuff.
The same thing happened with Queens of the Stone Age in Paris too.
Oh, that was not Queens of the Stone Age. It was Josh Homme was in the band, but it was the Eagles of Death Metal or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So, man, that was a horrible thing. I mean that.
But it's okay because those kind of things don't happen in other countries.
No, they don't. No, only here. This is interesting. You know, we'll get back to some of the other stuff, but I want to talk about the lunacy of how all this is being pitched to a lot of the women are at home, right? Because let's be real, that's what the View is for. It's for the Hausfraus. And, oh, Chad, you're very mean. No, I'm being honest. And it's for people who can make fun of it. This is Sonny Houston talking about the Department of Education, which I remind everybody cannot be done away by the swipe of a pen, okay? It's got to go through Congress. Congress is the purse.
It's not really about saving money.
No.
I think there's a much more nefarious reason for it. I think it's because without education, you get cheaper labor. Yeah. I think what they want to do is create in the United States a permanent underclass, a permanent cheap workforce, because educated workers cost more. That is the bottom line, and that's what they're doing.
Okay, really? God, she's just... Well, hold on a second. If that's true, well, we're already there, because then we need to get rid of the Department of Education because they're doing everything to help us race to the bottom. We saw a report card a couple weeks ago, how bad we are. Secondly, if it's just about cheap labor, then leave everybody here illegally, and we'll go from there. Right? If it's just about cheap labor, that's all it's about, Chad. It's just cheap labor. No, it's not. It's not. It's about waste. There's a $4 million. Some of the stuff that they did that, you know, and Elon is supposed to release stuff. He said by tomorrow, because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. He said, I'll have it out by tomorrow. Like the receipts, as he called it. But some of the stuff that's come out, it's like they did a $4 million study, or that's class and coordination event to help people with Zoom on the Department of Education. They did like a $2 million study, somewhere around there, to do a study on whether or not people took the other studies they did and got to them, and if they put it to use. Like, that's what they're doing. Like, that's the kind of ridiculousness that they have going on there. And you look at stuff like that, and you go, okay, this is why. This is why people are frustrated. And the reason that it's not resonating with the average American, I'm not talking about people out there, you guys are MAGA, all of that, so we're so MAGA. I'm not talking about the MAGA people. I'm not talking about the uber conservative. And by the way, when you say rhino, a rhino for the most part, libertarian, conservative-ish, conservatives are Republicans. MAGA is a different thing. I mean, they're all under the same, guise of stuff. But those people, it's not about them. The average person who votes left every once in a while, votes right, will have a split ballot and a lot of stuff that help Trump get over, even the Democrats. Zafton was talking about yesterday why a lot of people, even on the progressive side, like Trump because they wanted some chaos and they wanted some stuff, changed. You take this lunacy to the average person and tell them, hey, they spent $3 million trying to teach people how to use Zoom, and they go, that's stupid. Like, if you can't use Zoom, whatever job you're applying for is above your pay grade. Am I right?
Yeah. Even I can figure out Zoom.
Hell, most of the phones and everything we have already have Zoom on it.
Yes.
I don't know how it works. My mother knows how to use Zoom. She's 72 and still thinks the ATM is weird for spitting money at her. Do I need a $3 or $4 million study for that? No, I don't think anybody does. So that's why everything like this is falling on deaf ears. And as Brad said earlier, yeah, some of the chaos and stuff. You do that because you throw everything against the wall. 80% of it's not going to stick. It's just not. It's not going to stick because you've got to go through all of the stuff. There's steps that take. These steps are going to be like this. I'm going to try it. It's going to go to federal court. The federal court's going to shoot it down. Then we'll appeal it. It'll go to another one. And hopefully it gets to the Supreme Court, and they'll have to rule. And we know it's probably not constitutional, so it'll be shot down. And then I'm going to turn to the group that I have called Congress that are on my side and tell them, do your job. And then we'll see if they're willing to back the play. I don't know how many are willing to back the play. And remember, Mike Johnson doesn't have 8, 10, 12, 15 people that he could go, I could lose 5 or 6 and I'm okay. He doesn't have that. So we'll see how the Republicans do when it gets to that point. But it's about creating a conversation, and it's about also showing the insanity of so much of this bloat and ridiculousness that's out there. And many of these things aren't even going away. They're going to get rid of this stupid stuff that doesn't align with the things we need, and then they're going to take the rest of it and they're going to stick it in the State Department. They're going to stick it over here. It's not going anywhere. And because at this point in time, at least, that money's got to be spent. Because once it's allocated, Trump can't stop it, but he can tell you when to spend it within the parameters of this fiscal year. So we'll find out what that's like, but it's just, I sit there and I'm like, it's falling on deaf ears because nobody cares about the puppet show. Nobody cares about whether or not you're going to spend $4 million on a study to find out if teachers who have a BLM are more loved than somebody. And nobody cares about that. They're wondering why their kids' reading grades are so bad. They're wondering why their kids' math scores are so bad. So where we compare with the rest of the world, we spend the most. Most of that's on middle management. And the other side of it is on the extremes, the duh and the brilliant. Our brilliant is right up there with anybody else. But it's in the middle where the world is made that we're having that struggle right now. And that is ever present because, oh, man, all of us had a friend that wasn't very bright, but whoo, I've talked to some youngsters in the last several months that I think to myself, sweet mother of goodness. I hope the asteroid hits us.
And if you didn't have one of those friends, you were that guy.
You were that friend, yeah. If you didn't know who that friend was, it was you. It was you. Last night, she's brilliant, Joy Reid. Never met somebody she didn't want to insult. So her and Mehdi Hassan were talking about Elon. First of all, making fun of Elon's kid, like several people have, is ridiculous, right? You shouldn't make fun of other people's kids. He's a little kid. Well, he talks back to the president. He doesn't care who the president is. My daughter would probably say something because he doesn't care. And you know what? Trump doesn't care either. Why? Because it's a child, and Trump's had a child. That's why.
The idea of J.D. Rockefeller, for instance, being in the Oval Office, standing there while the actual president of the United States is giving a press conference would be absurd in that era.
By the way, just to let you guys know about J.D. Rockefeller, J.D., J.P. Morgan, all those Carnegie. Do you know Carnegie walked over one day and had a chat when the debt was so high, and he told them, I'll write you a check and we'll just cover the U.S. debt? He liked philanthropy and doing stuff, but he said, I'll cover it. Like, that's the kind of money they had. And they said, nah, we'll figure it out. But to say that, rich people have never done this before.
Because Elon's the actual president of the United States.
He clearly is. He's standing over Trump. It is the weakest Donald Trump has ever looked.
Yes.
As he couldn't even really stop the child from talking. No. Right? The child had more power in that room than he did.
You've seen the photo doing the rounds of the little kid saying, why are you sitting in my dad's chair for Trump? I mean, that iconic image and meme, because it does speak to the moment we're in.
You're trying to make Trump bad by saying, this guy's the real president. Trump doesn't care. Yes, at some point in time, I've said it. Brad said it as well earlier today. If you missed it, check out the podcast. Check out his stuff. Brad Palumbo, Brad Takes On Versus Everyone on the YouTube. But I've said this yeah, at some time they're going to clash. It's going to happen because the egos are big. And I would expect that because you don't get to where you are in the world like that without having some sort of ego. And Biden had an ego. Obama had an ego. Clinton had an ego. Bush had an ego. They've all got egos. And that's what makes them who they are. Yes, absolutely, Elon has an ego. And so at some point in time, they will clash. But they'll come back together because you don't get stuff done without clashing. I mean, go look at the greatest artists in history, music artists. I don't think John and Paul were always agreeable about everything. In fact, I can ask my good friend who knows music, who's eating a salad right now, which is really weird, but a little suspicious in there. Bell, John and Paul, were they best buddies when it came to writing?
They were best friends, and nobody ever came between them except Yoko.
Yeah. They all.
A woman. It was a woman's fault.
It was. She was nuts. We all know that. So, yeah, they're going to clash. And they'll come back together and they'll clash again. Because this is what happens. When you have people that are powerful, they want to do things. And yes, they're going to have egos. But for the betterment of the country, I think they'll do a fine job. And Trump is fine with him taking all of the slings and arrows. Because everything is made about Elon at this point in time. That's all they care about. And you can say, well, dude, it's because of he's now the president of the United States of America and Trump's just his pal.
This is a government, even without Musk, you had Trump and his billionaire friends. His first cabinet in his first term was the richest cabinet ever. Yeah. His second cabinet is the richest cabinet ever. It is a government of billionaires, by billionaires, for billionaires. But in this way, I can't think of a parallel in a foreign country. I can't think of a parallel in modern American history where, again, the billionaires aren't just running a department or getting favors or getting policies that they want, or even like a dropped SEC investigation. No, he's running the whole thing. And by the way, that is at the core of this. DOJ was investigating his companies, SEC, multiple U.S. government agencies were investigating Musk companies. That all goes away now. And he makes money at the same time. He's cancelling 900 million of education, Department of Education money, all sorts of cuts. And yet, as you mentioned, a $38 million contract on Monday. Yeah. Again, if I was in the writer's room in Hollywood writing the Trump secretary, you would say, that's unrealistic. That's ridiculous. We can't have that storyline where he gets $38 million while no, they're doing it.
He's been doing it for a long time because his company's that big and they do stuff. And yes, do I have some concerns about some of the things that he may be looking into? Yeah. You're not curious about that? Of course, you should be. You should question that. If he's going in there and he's getting rid of all of these investigations, and there's investigations on every major corporation on the planet. So especially when you're at that level and you're talking about, like one of them was U.S. aid was one of them. They were looking into the Starlink, which, by the way, I've had Starlink. It's amazing. And they were saying, well, how did the Russians get it? Well, and he sold it and he donated. Well, it ended up being other people took it and he never gave it to the Russians. And they got it because they were able to capture some of them and intercept shipments. So, yeah, I want to know what are you totally under investigation? Some of it's probably under a little bit of lock and key. And no, I don't want him to go in there and crush investigation after investigation. That's ridiculous. That's going to make it look bad. That's going to do harm to what you're doing. But if it's an investigation that's ridiculous because you don't like him, well, that's a different story. But let that come out with other people looking at it. Because it's like letting a kid grade their own paper and doesn't matter, they're not going to get in trouble for it. We don't want that at all. Coming up, more stuff. And we got our buddy joining the program, Tim Burchett, in a little while. We're going to talk about RFK. We're going to talk about DOGE. And we'll see, he's in this new, I don't know, it's some sort of committee / group that's going to be looking at all of the conspiracies. 9/11 is one of them. COVID, RFK, JFK himself, MLK. There's a couple other ones as well that he's going to be looking at. So the Epstein. When do we get that? So we're going to talk about that coming up in a little bit. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. They're doing a 90-day challenge. You guys know, you hear me talk about Rough Greens all the time. What is it? Well, it's a supplement that you give your dog once a day. They have it for your cat as well, but this is a 90-day challenge for your dog. It's got living enzymes. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, all this incredible stuff that's going to help enhance your dog's food. It's going to make it healthier than they've ever had it. And it takes one little scoop a day to get him there. So during the 90-day challenge, what you can notice after 30 days, shinier coat, more energy. By day 60, and I love this, less shedding, improved joint function, live nutrients are the reason why. And then by day 90, it's awesome. Better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health. You might even be able to stop with some of the nastiness and cancers that are out there because this stuff is so good for your dog. It helped our dog Doodle live an extra 5.5 years, and it was amazing. I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag, a $20 value. It is free for you. Just cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com. Use code Chad. Ruffgreens.com. Use code Chad.
Unfortunate. I think
Life without parole. This is for the young East Tennessee mother convicted on the death of her baby. We'll tell you about it coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Immigration, kids. It's a nightmare because the last 4 years before Trump got in was a nightmare. And now that the powers that be in the world of immigration, the people that were actually down there, the people that worked on the border, the people that saw the mass influx of people, and are starting to have confidence. Okay, now I can speak. Now I can say something. This is one of the VPs of the Border Patrol talking about the baloney that Biden spewed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think, I don't know who he thought he was fooling. I mean, it darn sure wasn't us. We knew what was going on the whole time. And you're right, the apprehension numbers have slowed to a crawl. Last night, I was actually working the river, and you have the Mexican military patrolling their northern border. So that slows down a lot of traffic coming our way. So things have changed a great deal. And this president has proven that he's a man of his word and can get it done. He actually gave then President Biden, the roadmap to do it. He just failed to do it.
Failed to do it. And you know what? Is it a failure to do it, or was it something else? It was something else. Biden was fine. He said during the second debate, within 100 days, I will put on my desk a pathway to citizenship for the 12 million. It's been 12 million for, 12 million years, it seems. People that are here illegally so they can come out of the shadows, blah, blah. The stuff that they all say. And I said, never. How can anybody vote for that? How could anybody vote for that? Because you just rang the dinner bell and said, come on down, have some fun, do what you want to do. And he undid everything Trump did. And then we got this. It's like yesterday, the controversy that we had, by the way, fish was a big controversy. We'll talk about that next hour because, I got a lot of you that text me were very upset over fish and how much you guys love fish. I didn't know. But when I was talking about Elon, and they're like, you guys make this out to be a big thing, like there was a crisis at the border. If you think that the left is angry and stuff, you guys were the same way for the border. No, it was real. The Democrats knew it was real. You can't have a border that wide open when you've got the people that are working there saying it's real. When you've got the people that along the border in places like Texas, where it's predominantly Latino, voting for Trump because they realized what a nightmare it was. That wasn't a pretend crisis. That's what a real crisis looks like and continues to look like, because even though they're fixing the border, and that's the first thing you had to do because it was the easiest. I mean, you go look at the numbers are down tremendously. It's inside now that the focus has to be, and that is he's getting frustrated, but he didn't have the money or the manpower at this point in time. He doesn't have the manpower is extremely important. He doesn't have the money, not just for the manpower, but also for spaces to keep people, because you're limited in how long you can keep somebody held. And that's why ICE takes people into custody, and then within a few days, a lot of them are released because they can't keep them much longer. So they get their little ankle bracelet, which they can cut off or do whatever they want, and away they go, which is going to be frustrating more and more. Coming up, Congressman Tim Burchett's going to join the program. We're going to talk about JFK, RFK, MLK, and a whole bunch of other stuff because he's on that new shkibobber. We'll do that straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show. Oh, do we break something? Bell broke something. It's okay. It's okay, guys. I got this. I'm going to riff. I'm going to riff all the way up to the top. We're riffing. Let's tell you about the beauty of how we work here. Right? You guys are probably making fun of Bell now because he doesn't know how to work Zoom. We've got an issue, Ken, from what I understand.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's something. He's like, just keep going.
It's a technical issue.
Yeah, we have a lot of those. That's modern times, right?
Yeah.
Like when I first got into radio, I'll show you how old, I used to cut tape.
Yes.
Have you cut tape?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, man, I cut tape. I also I couldn't wait to work to a place where we had slider knobs.
Yeah.
Faders, as opposed to the knobs, because I thought that wasn't cool. Knobs weren't cool.
I worked at a radio station in the late 80s where in order to capture Paul Harvey, news and comment, the big 20-minute one that he would do every day, I had to take a little reel-to-reel machine back to the transmitter, hook it into the transmitter with these patch cords. Now, I couldn't hear what was going on, but I would wait for the needles to go,
Oh, man.
and I would start the reel-to-reel because the station was undergoing a lot of work. And so for whatever reason, our ABC news feed, we could not get it through the control room at the time. So anything we wanted to record, like Paul Harvey, which, of course, every radio station in the nation ran back in those days, you had to go straight to the transmitter room, plug it in, and grab it that way.
Yeah, I've worked at some stations where, like, at 12 o'clock, you got to be here. You got to push the button because there's going to be the Catholic Church, and they're going to be doing their singing, and you're like, okay. It was just so wild.
Dude, I worked in a radio station where during a tornado warning, I was giving the warnings, and the radio station's in a mobile home.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh.
Little town called Davis, Oklahoma. No, Sulphur. It was Sulphur.
Sulphur, Oklahoma.
And the reason it's called Sulphur is because it smells just like it.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, it's the beauty of our business.
Yes,
Nothing
sir.
wants to fire, so if you want to go ahead and just start the news.
All right, here we go.
It's
Time for
Weaver,
the
boom.
news. WTN News. Dog.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in East Tennessee, a jury in Sullivan County recommending life in prison for Megan Boswell. The young mother found guilty of first-degree murder and 18 other charges in the suffocation death of her 15-month-old baby, Evelyn, in 2019. Boswell could have been sent to prison without parole, but when leniency was brought up, prosecutors did not protest. Boswell will be eligible for parole after serving 51 years. So what's in your wallet? Well, Americans' household debt, including credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, and student loans, is at a new all-time high of $18.04 trillion. That's according to a report released today by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Overall debt grew by $93 billion in the last 3 months of last year. About half of that increase, new credit card debt. Americans' total credit card balances now stand at a record high $1.21 trillion. The acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, who is ordered to drop the corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, has resigned. Danielle Sassoon announced her resignation in a 2-sentence letter, which does not reference the directive from the Justice Department. Sassoon, best known for prosecuting crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried, and had clerked for the late Justice Antonin Scalia. And right now in our nation's capital,
President Trump today signed an order calling for his administration to determine a reciprocal tariff for each foreign trading partner of the U.S. The administration intends to hit other countries with tariffs that match the duties they impose on American products. Asked for a timeline for when these tariffs might be implemented, a senior administration official suggested it would happen in a matter of weeks or months and on a rolling basis, starting first with countries that have the highest trade deficits with the U.S.
Now there's a new legal effort to stop DOGE. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Maryland by more than 24 staffers and contractors at USAID who say their lives have been upended by Elon Musk and his DOGE team in violation of the Constitution. And
on this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The confirmation is confirmed.
RFK Jr. is Health and Human Services Secretary. Kash Patel now a final confirmation vote away from being FBI Director. Linda McMahon told her Secretary of Education confirmation hearing how the Trump administration plans to downsize the agency.
We'll be working with Congress. We'd like to do this right. We'd like to make sure that we are presenting a plan that I think our senators could get on board with and our Congress could get on board with that would have a better functioning Department of Education, but certainly does require congressional action.
Brooke Rollins confirmed to serve as a Secretary of Agriculture with the support of all Republicans and 19 Democrats. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
WTN 99.7 Henderson, Nashville. How's that? Was that good? Did you guys like that? That's just legal.
It's actually WWT in Hendersonville, Nashville. So now we're official.
All right, there we go. Now, let me be serious. Retirement Ready Toolkit from Beacon. You guys need it, right? You need a toolkit. Everybody needs a toolkit, especially when it comes to retirement. And Beacon's going to help you. Local, go shake their hand. Say, hey, let's break some bread. Let's talk about this. If you're at retirement, right, nearing retirement, you want to get it right, Beacon's going to help you with that. And what they're going to do is they've got this Retirement Ready Toolkit. So call them up, visit their website, go down, see them, send it out to you. And this thing has a bunch of stuff in to help you navigate through all the stuff that's happening right now. Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, absolutely no pressure. Call them today. Get your free Retirement Ready Toolkit, 615-488-9303. That's 615-488-9303. Or find them online at askbeaconnow.com. Luckily, I didn't have to do this. Somebody said you should sing, was it Cars for Kids?
Oh.
K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't, man. That guy wrote that and he thought, that's a throwaway. Right, I'll charge you guys $100. Nobody's ever going to hear this thing. I missed out. Oh, my goodness. Congressman Burchett's supposed to join us here. We had some technical difficulties.
Yes, we're having some technical difficulties. We have failures to communicate, but we're working on it right now, doing our best to get everything up and running. Bell was running around, and, he doesn't have a head, so it's weird. Yeah, he's running into walls.
Because his hair's so... He probably does. It's just the hair, because he looks like Cousin It. It's crazy. Congressman Burchett, what's happening? All right, there we go. Bell's not good at this. Hey, what's happening?
Hey, just heading to the airport, hoping to get back to God's country.
Yeah, this is God's country, that's for sure. So because I know you're busy, I appreciate you coming on. So tell us, what exactly is this new committee with Rep. Luna and everything going to do? Because I'm very interested. That it seems to be, this is going to be cool, but this is a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it's really just a disclosure committee. We're going to try to make sure everything stays on track with the disclosure, whether it's John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, or Martin Luther King, and, of course, the UFO-UAP situation, too. We're going to hear things. It's a select committee, I guess. The chairman asked me to be on it, so we'll be dealing specifically with those issues, and we'll get the documents prior to, and we'll, I think it's amazing that the FBI just found 14,000 new files on John F. Kennedy's assassination. I mean, that just tells you the crooked nature of this whole situation up here.
You talk about they just found those, and I know at first it started out, I was like, we found 2,000. I'm like, well, now it's up to 14. How do you misplace those and magically find them a couple days before this is all announced?
You don't, and that's what scares me about it. It's either they want to come clean, or they're putting a bunch of fake information out to lead us down another rabbit hole.
That'd be awful. So how's it going to go? We're talking to Congressman Burchett. How's this going to go? Is it going to go, are we going to take a case-by-case thing, or are you guys going to just, kind of release it all, as fast as possible, one by one, or just everything at once?
Well, as soon as we get it, hang on a second, got a redneck up here.
I hate rednecks.
Washington, D.C. But we've got I would like to go case by case, but we need to get it as fast as we can get it, because something could change, and the feds will say, we didn't mean to do that. Let's not do it. Let's not do it anymore. And then what they'll holler is national security, and that's what's kept us away from a lot of files in the past. And so I just wish they'd just dump it all and let America decide. Quit playing, the dangling little carrot out there every now and then. Oh, look what we're doing for you all, and it's our stuff. They ought to turn it loose. They shouldn't be able to once be gatekeeper on this stuff.
How much have you seen so far? Because Rep. Luna said that she believes the single bullet theory is baloney and that there was somebody else. How much have you been read in or seen some of this stuff already?
We haven't. Neither one. I talked to her about that today. I mean, that's just her personal theory from what she's seen. She's got, the doctor's testimonies. And the thing about it is, I mean, just the whole thing, they claim to use a Italian carbine. It's called a Mannlicher. It was, I have one. It was written up as the only gun that never won a war. And, it's just a horrible, and then the picture, the famous picture where they're holding the gun up, they're holding up a Mauser. So, the whole thing is just bogus, I think. Nobody could make that shot, those 3 shots in that period of time and in that close of a pattern. And it's just not, the whole thing is bogus, and I don't know if we'll ever know the truth.
Talking to Congressman Burchett as he gets ready. He's heading back here to God's country, and a redneck almost ran him off the road, dadgummit. So now that you're getting this set up, and this is going to be cool, because I think a lot of people have hit me up today, even on the TN text line, talking about how excited they are for that. One person said you need to check and make sure the earth isn't flat, but we'll leave that to the side. The UFO stuff I'm very curious about. That's got to be maybe, is that where you kind of lean into, like you really want to get to the bottom of this?
Yeah, they asked me to chair a committee just dealing with that, and I said, no, let some other people get in on this thing. I got too much going on right now. And I would like to see some of it. I've had too many. I've talked to admirals. I've talked to some of the top pilots in the world that are American military, and it's just everything is just right there. And I just wish they just push it all out, unredacted. And because we're spending the money on something, we're spending millions and millions of dollars, and now Elon's interested in it. So I suspect we'll see a lot of movement on that.
Speaking of Elon, what do you make of the DOGE, the speed of the DOGE? I mean, a lot of this stuff, and you know this, he's throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks, see it get through the courts before it eventually gets to you guys to vote on, because you're going to have to vote on some of these things. What do you think of the DOGE so far?
I love it. The reason they're hollering is because they got their hand in the cookie jar. You're going to see money that comes right back to Washington, and it's both parties. So, I'd love to point the finger at the Democrats, but I can assure you that that's not all the case. And I'm looking forward to that, everything they can get as fast as they can get it. And because we're going to have to pass laws. Anything the president does by executive order, we've got to pass laws to make it permanent, or another president can just come in and turn it over. So we've got to have the guts to do that, and that's where you're going to see your people getting a little squirrely on it. And I love it. The stuff they're finding out, USA. We've been talking about that stuff for years, and we could never get anybody to pay any attention to it. And then it's just coming out fast and furious right now. We're looking at over $1 billion in just fraud, waste, and abuse already.
What do it's funny you talk about like the USAID. We could sit there, and talk about a lot of this stuff that's a waste and abuse, and there's plenty of it. And the CIA obviously enjoys their coup using all this stuff. But on the side of that, though, we got to get to the bottom of some of this other stuff, the waste, fraud, and abuse inside of, everything from Social Security to Medicare, and to get to the real, get this deficit down. And everybody's terrified to even mention those two things. But we have to be honest, we're going to run out of money.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we ought to, and the Democrats are already starting to squeal because we said we're going to do away with with all that within Medicaid and Medicare. And what that, the messaging, and we're terrible at messaging. I don't know why we can't get our heads together on this thing, but the truth is, if we can eliminate all that, and then there's more money there available for people who need it. So I would just think that would be the best selling point. And of course, education, it's going to make USA look like a crap game out behind the bar somewhere. Because it's the money that they're going to find in education, and then when they get over to the Pentagon, Katie bar the door. It's going to be big.
You know, the Pentagon, like, you know, with Pete Hegseth running it now, and I was trying to explain to people, it's not about cutting it so we're not armed. It's actually easier for us to be more efficient, and with AI and everything, that's where everything's going anyways. It's the fact that these guys sign these massive contracts for 10 years. After 5 years, that stuff's obsolete, but we still have to pay them to make stuff we'll never use.
Yeah, we're mothballing stuff, and the corruption lies, and they come into the meeting, the chairman of the committee, and he'll point to different members and say, you know, the missiles are made in your district, the landing gear are made in your district, the jet engines are made in your district, and a lot of these things, in these weapon systems, as soon as they're produced, they're mothballed, and that has got to stop.
Yeah. It absolutely does. One of the things, and we're going to let you get here, one more quick question, talking to Congressman Burchett about, you know, all the stuff with the DOGE and the new committee you're on. You talked about the fact, you guys are the purse, and I think people forget that you guys are the purse, and a lot of this stuff is going to be knocked down by courts and maybe even the Supreme Court, like education, Department of Education, and then it's going to be your turn to stand up. And you're right. There's going to be a lot of guys out there that are happy that he's signing executive orders, but there's going to be some push coming to shove on the Republican side to get some of these things over the line.
Absolutely, and I want to warn people, when we make these cuts, if we turn around and give that money to the war films at the Pentagon, we're not saving anything, because we're just turning right around and spending it. We're not saving it to give to the Pentagon. We're saving it to get us out of debt and to save our country from falling further. I mean, this inflation is real, man. Tennesseans are hurting.
Yep.
And, you know, when the government's taking state, federal, and local, they're taking over half your income, and that's pathetic. And then we're throwing it out. This is stuff at USAID, you know. Like I say, if I couldn't go to Columbia, not Tennessee, but the country, if I couldn't go to Columbia and enjoy a transgender opera paid for by the American taxpayers, I don't know what I would do. You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're spending money on. We are spending money on sex reassignment or sex change operations in Central America. Millions of dollars that we're spending on this stuff. And, you know, and we can't even take care of our people in Upper East Tennessee and Western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. You know, we voted on $100 million for FEMA. I didn't vote for it because I knew they'd just steal it. And sure enough, that's what they've done. They were still living in tents and weren't getting, you know, Army Corps of Engineers wasn't paying any attention until Trump got in there and he told them to get their butts up there and fix it. And that's what they're doing. So it's, you know, new sheriff in town.
Keep fighting the good fight. We can't wait for you to expose the aliens, man. We're looking forward to that because I know you're the one to do it.
I'll bring them by the station for you to meet them.
I love that. Congressman Chet, thanks so much. Fly safe, man. Talk to you soon.
See you, bro.
See you. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, see, he gets it. He knows the alien thing. That's big time. That is a big time, because I know that's, of all the things, you know that's his jam, Bell. That's what he wants.
I'm almost positive he forgot about the interview since he was doing it in his car.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, well, he wasn't driving. Somebody said, you hate rednecks.
Knowing Tim, he probably was driving.
Yeah, says you hate redneck. No, I was going to say, I hate redneck traffic, but he hit me up before I could get going on that. But it's, so settle down out there, people. My goodness me. Coming up, well, we'll talk a little bit about this because I'm curious about the push come to shove stuff, because I think he knows that there are people behind the scenes that he deals with every day, Congress people, that are going to get a little squirrely, as he said, when it comes to some of the stuff that Trump wants to do, because they're going to get pushback in where they vote. And that's a tough thing for people in Congress, because what's the goal of Congress? To stay in Congress. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Ladies and gentlemen, MyPillow is a mega sale going on right now. Mega sale. They got all kinds of stuff, like goodies. They're amazing. You want to sleep better? $14.98. Classic MyPillow. $14.98. 60 money back guarantee, 10-year warranty. You want towels that actually suck up the water? They got those things. Cheap, under $70 for a 6-piece towel set. They've got sheets. They've got everything made in America with the best quality cotton. It is awesome. And yes, they've got slippers. They've got sandals. They've got a mega sale going on right now at MyPillow. Use my code Benson. Go to mypillow.com/Benson. mypillow.com/Benson. Check out everything they have. And if I can give you one thing that you're going to get their mattress topper. It is the best thing. It is incredible. But $14.98 for the classic MyPillow. And these things aren't going to last long. Limited time for the towels and the sheets. Grab them now. mypillow.com/Benson. mypillow.com/Benson. Wellness Institute of Nashville, our good buddy, Dr. Mitchell, and Dr. Ashley. You know they're amazing. They're going to take care of you. You're going to go there and you're like, this is incredible. Why? Because you're hurt. Your back hurts. Your knee hurts. Right now they got the big 47 going on, and it is because the 47th president. That's in honor of him. It's 47% off non-surgical decompression. And you're thinking, what is that? First of all, no pills, no spinal cream. What they do is they're going to put you in these, they've got these amazing machines. You walk in there, at first you're like, oh, this is awesome, right? They make you feel comfortable. Then you get in the back and you see all of the stuff. And we're talking about top notch. Nobody has this anywhere else. And away they go. They're going to be from the moment you walk in is like concierge, taking care of you. And it's about getting the nerves, right, to open up, like getting the pressure off those nerves so your back feels better. You don't want 2025 to suck. You're always in pain. No. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has you covered. And their big 47 offers going on right now, 47% off non-surgical decompression. Start the year off right. Do it for yourself. Do it for your back. Call them today, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or go to painisbad.com.
Well, you just heard Congressman Tim Burchett talk about his new role on a new panel. Got to hear what he says about what the FBI just uncovered as far as the assassination of JFK. Coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
14,000 new documents.
Yeah.
It was 2,000 yesterday.
Yeah. 14,000.
Well, let's remember that could have been just somebody accidentally left it in Biden's garage.
I was going to say right next to his awesome sweet Corvette or whatever he was driving. But this is, Luna, she talked about we want to get trust back in America. Well, 14,000, that's like, how are you going to do that? How long has it been? We're going on how many years? How many decades? And then you got to think through the decades they've had how many different investigations and hearings and whatnot. So not everything came from that time, from just right afterwards. It's over time. And here we are now. It's like, oh, God, you know what? I had these at home. I'm sorry. Yeah. We're going to back the U-Haul up so you can take a look. I didn't even know. It said...
I completely forgot I had taken those home.
It said JFK assassination on the side of him. I didn't know you guys were serious about this.
Yeah.
This is what nobody believes anybody. I mean, it's...
There's absolutely no trust, man.
No.
I think the word you were looking for was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to use another word, but that's for the YouTube.
I mean, I'm not lying when I tell you boys, Whenever I go to put a story on the air, I'm checking 3 or 4 different sources on every story. You've got to do it. You cannot just copy and paste in this business.
No, not anymore.
No.
Because, first of all, the time in which we move as far as the speed of news and gathering and what's taking place and how fast you get it, even if you think it's true, it's like when we talk about whether it's a school shooting or, even today with the Germany thing with the guy that hit all those people in Germany.
Yeah.
It went from 28 to 30, down to 15, back to 28. Some were dead, some weren't. We move so fast, and everybody wants to be first. They're not worried about whether or not they're right.
And that's the problem.
Yes, because there's no repercussions. Nobody holds anybody accountable. And that's the scary thing. Yeah. I mean, nobody holds anybody accountable anymore. And that's, like you said, you have to go to 3 or 4 places. I do the same thing. I have to go to so many places because I get it from both sides. You suck. In one segment, I can get people who are MAGA going, you're the worst person I've ever heard, to you're a Nazi Trump lover.
Yeah. But I apologized for saying that.
You did. And first of all, when I do that, it means that I've touched a nerve and I've probably said something people didn't want to hear. You heard the other side of the story you don't want to hear. But you have to go through so much to get to any of these places anymore. And I don't even know if some of the places that I've used for years, I'm like, I don't even know if I trust you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's a sad situation that we find ourselves in. People ask me where I get a lot of my stuff. Well, I straight arrow news, like if I'm looking for deeper dives into certain things and, and they'll go deep and stuff. But even then, at that point, I triple check all of it.
Yep.
Because you have to. And it doesn't mean that they're doing it on purpose. Because sometimes they're getting information that they think is true.
Right.
And that's the difference between misinformation and misinformation is, I think it's true, so I'm telling you this. Disinformation is, I know this is a lie, but I'm going to tell you this anyways.
Flat out. Yes, sir.
And it's embarrassing. We should not be in this position. And even if I can tell you now, they could come out and say tomorrow that RFK was it was a single bullet. It was, I'm a single shooter, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's going to believe it. They could come out and say, nope, we found out who it was. It was this group of people. These people knew. And then somebody will find a conspiracy around that and why they're blaming them.
Oh, yeah.
So aliens are real. They're not real. They are real. They could land here and take you away, and you wouldn't believe it at this point in time, which would be hilarious. So I'd be like, come on. Oh, away you go. Hello, ladies. And some ladies out there. Belle, go on. Show them the moves. Belle's got breakdance. Belle's going to come out and say hi to you guys. Do some breakdance moves.
Put that Cobra up.
He's going out, too. That's what I like about him. Yes, dude. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he's just right up in their grill.
What is Belle doing?
He's looking. He's like,
you ladies need some assistance?
He's like, hi, guys. My name's Belle. I have cats. Hi, guys.
I hate you all.
Were there not 2 ladies out there?
There's 3.
3.
Or were you not including more?
No, Drew, we know.
Drew? Yeah, Drew.
Yeah, we know that person. Come on. That doesn't count. Like, it's got to be somebody you don't know.
I'll make sure she knows you said that.
But we already know her. All right, coming up, we got some more stuff. Some of you yelling at me, which I, of course, enjoy. So that'll be fun. We'll talk about that. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Tennessee 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett will be on the newly launched House panel on the heels of his executive order to begin declassifying, on Trump's executive order, that is, to begin declassifying information on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, MLK, his brother Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King. Already said that. The first investigation lawmakers will undertake will be delving into the assassination of JFK.
We'll get the documents prior to, and we'll, I think it's amazing that the FBI just found 14,000 new files on John F. Kennedy's assassination. I mean, that just tells you the crooked nature of this whole situation up here.
Task force on the declassification of federal secrets leader Anna Paulina Luna of Florida says the White House, Justice Department, FBI, and CIA are, quote, very supportive of her panel's mission. Right now in East Tennessee, a jury in Sullivan County recommending life in prison for Megan Boswell, the young mother found guilty of first-degree murder and 18 other charges in the suffocation death of her 15-month-old baby Evelyn in 2019. Boswell could have been sent to prison without parole, but when leniency was brought up, prosecutors did not protest. Boswell will be eligible for parole after serving 51 years. So what's in your wallet? Americans' household debt, including credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, student loans, at an all-time high of $18.04 trillion. This according to a report released today by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Overall debt grew by $93 billion in the last 3 months of 2024, and about half of that increase was new credit card debt, which now stands at a total of $1.21 trillion for Americans. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
USS, that's severe weather, rain, nastiness. You don't want that. You know what? You want to make sure that you don't have water leaking everywhere. You want to make sure that you're taking care of that foundation. Is it a mess? USS is ready to help you. That's why you need to trust USS, especially when you maybe have leaks. You don't want to have wood rot. You don't want to have stuff, you got cracks in your basement, all that kind of stuff. Water's coming in. Oh, my Lord, USS is there to help. First of all, they're not going to put you in anything crazy. They're not going to come out there and go, oh, you need to do this, this, and this. That's not who they are. Right? They've been around for 30 years. They got 30,000 happy customers. Check it out. Google, look it up. It's awesome. Top of that, it's free when they come out to look. They're not going to come out, oh, we need $5 million for us to take a look. No. They want to take care of you. They want to make sure that there isn't the cracks. And if the cracks are there, it's just foundation. We can fix it really quick or get ugly. No wood rot, no mold, none of that stuff. Call them today, especially if you're worried about the potential with these storms coming in. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855 for USS. Check them out online at USSTN.com. You know, you talk about they just roughgreens.com. You love your animals like I love my animals? Of course you do. You want the best for them. That's what Rough Greens delivered is a powder supplement put on top of your dog or cat's food. They have Meow Greens. But right now, let's focus on Rough Greens. So they have a 90-day challenge. And first, you're going to get a Jumpstart trial bag. It's free. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. One-time scoop every morning, put them right on top of their dog's food. After 30 days, shinier coat. Nice. More energy. After 60 days, what you're going to notice is fuller coat. No shedding. None of that crazy stuff like you touch your dog and all that stuff comes off. New. Better digestive tract. You're going to see that they're just happier, healthier. And the joints, a little bit looser, right? Moving a little bit freer. And by the time you get to the 90 days, it's like you have a whole new dog, right? It's going to help them with their heart health. It's going to help them with their aches and pains because of like a lot of dogs get older, a little, arthritis. This is awesome. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens now. I swear by it. I give it to my animals, my dog and my cat. It's incredible and helped my older dog live a lot longer than he should have. RUFFgreens.com. Get a Jumpstart trial bag. Use my code Chad. Roughgreens.com. Use code Chad. Oh, yeah. I like it.
Kind of reminds me of Soundgarden.
Yep.
It does.
Yep.
Is this like the infomercial, one of those things where you buy like, you got 75 tracks on here, and this is sound garbage.
Not Soundgarden, because that would be copyright.
That would be
infringement.
copyright.
That's right.
Sound garbage.
Yeah.
Here's Nervari. Like remember you ever go to the like swap meet or one of those places and you're like, I got a Dito's one time brand of 4 stripes instead of 3 stripes. It's a Dito's Rolex with 2 X's.
Oh, that's just too brilliant.
Oh my goodness me. Man, a lot of you guys are very interested in the, well, everybody wants to know the conspiracies. Somebody asked if they were going to get to the bottom of Lincoln. Maybe. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible, friends, get to the bottom of Lincoln. I think we know what happened to him. McKinley. We know what happened to some of those people. But what happens, and this is I think is a question for everybody out there. Let's just say, because some people have thought it. So if you're already in the conspiracy, you think the CIA, the FBI had something to do with it. I mean, you're over there. You're going to always think that. What about the average person who has this thought process of, the government's the government. They're not. They lie to us for our own good. They would never do anything to their own to their own group to hurt themselves. And you find out that they were a part of what would be the biggest cover up in political history. How do you react to that?
I have audio of the government talking about it.
Tell me. Nice. That's code, That's code right there. I do wonder. Because we're so fractured and we have no trust in our government. Why should we have trust in our government?
As many times as they've been caught lying.
But just
remember, if you get the shot, you'll never get COVID.
Oh, God. That was, like he just got sworn in, Health and Human Service Secretary, and the new person who's going to yell at us for not eating our vegetables. The first thing he said when he's done, he looked over at the camera and goes, "Eat your vegetables." And that, of course, is Robert Kennedy Jr.
He literally it's been about like 3 minutes since he officially got sworn.
Yeah. So no vaccines for anybody.
Those are all off the table now.
And everybody take off your shirt.
Yes. Now, I don't know where Jimmy Hoffa is. I don't know if anybody's that, I think we know where he is. He's probably in
a lot of places.
He's probably underneath a football stadium. Right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
At least a piece of him is.
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't have any teeth.
Teeth or fingers?
Or hands.
Yeah, they took those things away. So, but the curiosity for me has always been, you want to believe your government does good. I mean, but, the USAID's a perfect example of the nefariousness of a lot of what our government's done. We use our, the altruistic, we're going to go here and help, which is great. We're going to spread democracy. And we only did that because we didn't want communism to spread in certain areas. It was a Cold War thing. And they could send 10 doctors, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, to a place in Africa or Asia or somewhere, and they were going to go help fight malaria or some disease. And 8 of those doctors were doctors and nurses, and 2 of them, maybe they were with the CIA. Maybe.
And you're using the word maybe facetiously.
Yes, of course they were. They were absolutely with them. And The weird thing about the CIA compared to the FBI never talks about any of their work. They're always quiet about it. We can't comment. The CIA, they've always been told, you can talk about whatever you want as long as it's not somebody who's in the field and stuff that's done in the past. You can talk. They don't care. They go on. They're always on some sort of. You can't go online and not see Sean Ryan or somebody talking to somebody from the CIA, and they're getting all kinds of information about stuff they've done in the past and the things they do. Because they're not, in theory, supposed to operate here. But then you go and find out that not only have they operated here at times through many of these organizations, not directly but indirectly, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, the stuff they've done, the coups that we've been involved with, look, illegal immigration's got to stop. But Central America, can we be honest? How many times have we overthrown a government there to install somebody who is 10 times worse, went against our national interest, ruined their country? Way too many.
And then somebody's like, now we got to overthrow these guys.
That's exactly it. It's it. The same thing with South America. We're always looking. You don't think we would love to topple, Maduro?
Maduro, yeah.
Yeah. You see, okay, I saw a thing today with gas. Most expensive gas in the world, Hong Kong, $13 a gallon.
Why?
Because they have such high taxes.
Oh.
It's 13 cents a gallon in
Singapore?
No, like Iran and Venezuela.
Oh, because they're sitting on it.
Yeah, they're sitting on it. Like some of those places, literally.
Well, we're the biggest producer in the world. How come our gas is like almost $3?
Taxes.
Well,
is a big deal. And not just taxes, but you got to think about getting it to places, right? For a lot of these places, even like Venezuela and stuff, they have refineries everywhere. We don't.
It's a real indictment on the regulatory system too, though, that it's so expensive. It's so expensive compared to places like that. We're the number one oil producing country in the world, but the regulatory state has decided that the prices just aren't high enough.
And here's the other thing about being the biggest oil producer. A lot of the oil that we need is that heavier crude, and we don't produce as much.
Right.
So we're having to bring it in from Canada. That's why it's important, because I hear everybody say, drill, drill, drill. It's great drilling, but if we don't have refineries that can take it, because that's really what it's all about. It's not about the oil. We can get enough oil. It's about the kind of oil, because if we don't have the right refineries, and most of our refineries are not set up for heavy.
You can suck out hundreds of millions of gallons of oil, and if you don't have a place to refine it, it's going to sit.
Yep. And that's what happens. So we export a lot of our oil because other places use light, sweet crude and stuff. We need the heavy oil, and Canada has a ton of heavy oil because it's Canada, the 51st state. Stop saying that.
As Matt would say, America's hat.
It is. It's America's hat, and we've got Mexico's our Huaraches. Those are like flip-flop sandals for those of you who don't know. Some people out there, what's a Huarache? Is that like a barbecue?
Is that like a maraca?
That's a hibachi, the grill. The maracas. That's nice. That's
hot
nice.
Sauce.
She's suing Google apparently, or she's going to, for changing it to the Gulf of America.
Who is?
Sheinbaum, president of Mexico.
Oh, of course. Well, like Google's going to care.
How about this? Well, how about this? The Gulf of North America.
How about we call it the Gulf of America, and they can change the Gulf of California to the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, they have Baja California.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
My question is, what does John Cougar Mellencamp think about it? Because you remember that song?
Mm-hmm.
Vacation down at the Gulf of Mexico.
I know. Did you see his daughter was in the hospital? She had brain tumors.
Goodness.
They said they got her to the hospital. She had all these headaches for days, and they got in there, and she had just a ton of brain tumors.
Terrible.
From all the secondhand smoke?
Probably.
Terrible.
She's a good-looking lady. Just to let you guys know that.
That to me, she looks like her mama.
Yeah. This is the beauty of rock and roll, isn't it? I mean, come on, let's be real.
Yes.
Let's just
the great equalizer.
Well, we were talking the other day about Vince Neil standing next to his girlfriend. She's like 6 foot and gorgeous. He looks like a troll.
He has just put on so much weight.
He's so like he needs spandex because he's not getting in regular stuff. He's got to have give. He's wearing Spanx.
You know, supposedly like a couple years ago, he fell off the stage and broke a rib.
Yes.
He didn't fall off the stage. It collapsed under him.
Yeah, he fell off the stage and found a rib. Oh, look at this.
You guys better look out, man. He's got a temper.
He lives here, too.
I know.
I'm not worried. No offense. I'm like, get away from me.
Chad walks to work, man, in the dangerous city of Nashville.
That's
Chad's
right.
not scared of anything.
I walk by the naked
the naked
statues, the naked statues, which is so weird. Every time we drive by, my daughter's all wiener.
She actually said that. That's brilliant. Hey, just for the record, I'm a huge Vince Neil fan.
I know. I'm kidding. Vince, we're having fun. I mean, but let's be real, Vince. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you were working as an assistant band director at a high school, and you had a weekend garage band. Do you think you would be dating her?
No.
Okay. I just wanted some honesty.
Well, of course, but that's true of every girlfriend he's ever had because he's had blonde after blonde after blonde who was just gorgeous.
Yeah, are you
and
saying
it was all because he was in Motley Crue.
Yeah, well, of course. That's it. That's why I look at John Lennon and said, "What'd you do? What were you thinking?"
You should see Mick Mars' wife.
Oh,
She
yeah.
blows rain away, and rain's just hot.
By the way, Mick Mars has always been the creepiest looking guy.
Oh,
hasn't he?
yeah.
With his little Fu Manchu things.
Intentionally.
Really?
Yeah, he loves that weirding people out thing.
Because he's always looked like, dude, you had that way too much plastic surgery, even though I don't know if you've really
I don't
had
think
plastic.
he's had any
But it
plastic
looks
surgery,
like
but
that.
yeah.
You know, when you get to that point, you kind of look like a cat. Kind of uncomfortable look.
Well, the guy is, let's see, Tommy and Nikki are in their 60s, which means Mick is in his mid-70s.
Really?
Yes.
I like the way I like his guitar sound. How does he get his guitar? Like, it's Mick Mars.
Oh, without a doubt.
When you
Absolutely.
hear that guitar.
Wow.
He's just got a real original tone like Eddie Van Halen did
Yeah.
and a lot of other.
Tony Iommi?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he can. You're right. Everybody's got that feel, right? Like that kind of just something about you. Like, I know that guy. I know who that guy is.
Yeah.
And do you think it works the same way with female, like, rock stars and pop stars?
No.
Like, because, like, Lita Ford, do you think she, like,
Well, Lita Ford married Chris Holmes, who is the ex-guitarist of Wasp, and I can't say that was the smartest decision on her part.
No, probably not. There's a lot of hairspray going on up in there.
That's a big old boy.
Yeah.
That's a big old boy.
What, he's like 6'9"?
6'4", I think.
Man, that's a tall rock star.
Yeah.
The big Wasp.
Yeah, Wasp was scary, man. Blackie Lawless is like 6'4", 6'5".
Mick is 73. Carlos Santana, I'm sure he's got a lovely lady. Hey, speaking of weird looking, not weird looking, sorry about you, Carlos. Did you see the Tom Cruise, like, Super Bowl thing?
Yes.
That did not look like Tom Cruise.
No,
It looked like somebody who wanted to look like Tom Cruise.
It looked a little funky.
Right?
Almost like they had done some kind of CGI to it.
Right?
But
It looked
they
like a
didn't-
guy who's playing Tom Cruise at
Yeah.
this weekend opening up a car dealership.
He's like an impersonator or something. But we're laughing, but it actually did look like a Tom Cruise impersonator.
And I don't know. I mean, did Scientology do something? Not that I'm disliking Scientology. You guys are wonderful. Wink, wink. Oh, yeah, I'm not in California. I don't have to worry about that.
No, they got a celebrity center here.
Oh, do they?
Oh, yes.
Ah, gee, okay, you guys are great. Oh, we're going to wrap it up. I just saw Matt walk by. He's vested today. I just know vested today. Well, he's straight ahead. It is Chad Benson, Super Talk 99.7. He's got a very big show coming up. You got the first interview, the big interview with Tracy Turner, right?
Tracy Turner's coming on the show. Hello, Chad, by the way.
What's going on, brother?
You look great.
Thank you. You look cute. You're vested.
Thank you very much. This is my J. Fox.
Is that
from the Michael J. Fox collection?
Is that an inside-outside one?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I got one of those. Those are nice.
Flip that bad boy.
I like that.
Yeah. So Tracy Turner, for those who don't know, is a Nashville, or was a Nashville firefighter. I don't know if he's still with the force. I don't think he is. He's a captain. And in 2020, and we'll share the full Facebook post, but in 2020, during the Summer of Love, as things were burning around the city.
Mostly peaceful.
Yeah. He posted up on his personal Facebook page that a bunch of punks and thugs were trying to burn the city down. And for that, he was demoted as a captain in the fire department because they claimed that there was some sort of racial undertones to the words thug and punk. So he sued, saying, no, I was just offering a commentary on what was happening around our city, as I have the right to do. And the city had an opportunity to settle out of court. He was willing to settle out of court for $105,000. And the city voted it down 31-0, even though the legal advisor for the city of Nashville said, y'all need to take this deal. This is a great deal. And he was just awarded $1.8 million.
I wonder if the legal advisor goes, I want everybody on the record to know that I advised you guys, so don't look at me and go, why didn't you win the case?
I told you
you weren't going to win the case.
I told you you're going to lose the case. So he's coming on, and also David Plazas is coming on. David Plazas is the editorial page editor of the Tennessean, and I'm just curious to talk to them about whether or not they know that their publication does not necessarily reflect the views of the people that read it.
I don't think, no.
Not necessarily that read it, that could read it. And this is something that I was talking about earlier with, we had Brad Palumbo on earlier.
The reality is that the Democrats in general seem to continue to miss every opportunity to hit the ball. And they're rudderless, and they run at all the things that made sure that they weren't in power anymore, and they continue to double down on it.
Well, and when you are not in the majority, when you have none of the power, I would think that you would find the opportunities to say, hey, Chad, we agree on that. We agree on. Let's agree on that, and let's work on these other things. They refuse to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely refuse to do it.
Dean Phillips was on CNN yesterday, and he's like, he goes, first of all, the Democrats, he ran against Biden. Everybody said, oh, you're a horrible person. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed everybody. He said, look, you guys don't want to be on this, and you should be on it so you can look and see for real what's going on. I wanted to do that if I got in there. And you guys are also in front of a buzzsaw, and you can't be stopped. And you yelling at Elon isn't fixing it.
No, of course it isn't. And, and screaming about Elon not being an elected official or whatever the heck they're screaming about today is ludicrous as well. Well, I have to ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
So I happen to hear a lot of singing of "Ain't That America" by John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Did I hear that?
Yeah, that was.
Did you guys figure it out? You just changed "Ain't That" to "Gulf of," right?
Oh,
Gulf of America.
Oh, I like that. Look at, is that what you're going to do?
Gulf of America.
A little parody for us?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but you got to say America.
America.
Yeah, well, that's good, Ken.
He's a good singer. He's been rocking out all day.
Has some of that Indiana rock.
Oh, yeah. Well, Indiana does rock, kids. If you've ever been to
Indiana, a lot of corn.
Lots of corn.
Lot of corn.
I've been to Indiana on a few occasions. They're very nice people.
I mean, well, I never saw any people. Just the corn.
Just the corn. That's all I was there. I was the corn.
I was just driving through the butt end of Indiana trying to get to Chicago, man. I was trying to get to Chicago.
It's funny that you're going to bring him on because it's good. I like having different points of view.
I did too.
I know some people out there, you and I both know why is this person just only have, I want affirmation. But I'm curious to see, like, how does he say DOGE isn't real or that the sanctuary cities are that's insane. How do you work that into something?
Well, and it's okay if at times I'm going to be a reflection of community views. At times I'm going to act as kind of a ballast against those views, right? And just to make sure that you sharpen your viewpoint by balancing it against a different viewpoint. I think that's very important. But I wonder if they know. Like, they did a poll on Elon Musk, and there were all of these poll questions, and they were tilted 80-20 against Elon Musk, against Donald Trump. Elon Musk has too much power. Elon Musk shouldn't be involved in any of this. And I just wonder if Plazas recognized that I don't pretend that if I did a poll on my show that it would necessarily reflect all of Tennessee viewpoints.
No, because most of the people
we're probably
listening
more
are conservative.
right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm just wondering if he would be willing to accept that this is not a scientific poll and that you're obviously not speaking to a large percentage of the population that could read your articles.
Yeah.
And it's probably because you've decided that you don't want them or need them. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the traditional media has decided that they're going to find their niche. They're going to take their 8 or 10 people that read or watch and go from there.
I mean, but enough about CNN.
Enough. Whoa, look at those ratings.
Yo,
Heavier all week. And speaking of that, he's up next. Matt Murphy, straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.